Hello. Hello, Chewy. Hello, MSFS. Hey, how are you doing? So, after a couple or three frustrating flights, Chewy, I saw your stream and you had a CTD. I had 3 CTDs yesterday. My flight from Karachi to Islamabad. And the strange thing is the CTDs happen exactly at a certain position on the flight path, on the flight plan. And apparently that's because there are some places in the simulator where the mesh is broken. So that sucks. I did one flight, I got the CTD. I did a second one, got the CTD in the same place. Jolly was flying with me and he had exactly the same problem in the same location. So I did another flight this morning, same plan, and CTD in exactly the same place. Wow. So then I searched on the forums and I found some issues. No, I don't think it was the servers. I think there's also an issue with the mesh being broken in certain places. On the forum, there are quite a few people having problems when they fly in Pakistan. So, yeah, bon. Wow, okay. It said that my bandwidth were too slow. Yeah, I've had that message as well. I just got full fiber, as you know. There's no way my bandwidth is slow. Anyway, so I thought I'd give another go. Today we are flying a different plan. We are flying from Bring Map. Don't you mean Bing? Boom, boom. Yeah, it's Microsoft. I don't know what they're doing. Whether they're getting ready for something, or it's scary that they can just shut down everything for everybody. But anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, so today we are going to do a different flight plan. We are flying from Hanoi down to Singapore in the Vietnam livery. Yes, Shadrach. It is a pretty livery, isn't it? Yeah. It does look nice. Anywho, let's just jump into the charts and have a look at our plan today. So that's our plan today. So we're heading from Hanoi up here and we're going to go down to Singapore. Let's just check the... So I haven't done the approach yet for Singapore. I'll do that. Let's see what it will look like. So let's go open the charts for Singapore. The star, we are going to be arriving on runway 20 right. So let's find 20 right. Start approach. There we go, 20 right. And let's have a look at 20 right. Let's overlay it onto the route. Okay, and approach is 20 right. There we are. And let's have a look at no, approach is 20 right. What's impact? There we are. Okay. Okay, we'll figure that out. Okay, let's jump into the cockpit. And we have rain in Vietnam. Very nice. Let's power up the flight pad and import our sim brief data. And there we are. Okay. Fuel today is 10.1. Let's bring in the fuel. There we go, and start to refuel. In the meantime, let's power up. I hope we get everything working today. It's demoralizing when you try to fly and you spend all that time and nothing happens. Fueling is on, so let's get the crew supply and exits done. There we go. Nav 1, 2, and 3, and all good there. Let's drop down. Atsu. Bring in the flight plan. Here we are. Okay, fueling is still taking place, so we're waiting for that to finish. Let's do weight and balance. Passenger manifest. There we are, and start boarding. Okay. Yep, had it twice. It was not good. Okay, init request, and the same place, exactly the same place on the flight plan. Flight level is 380 today, so let's go 380. Okay, and let's do our wind while we're at it. There should be a way to request the wind. You can do that in the Aerosoft A320, but not in the fly-by-wire yet. Tankan, mate. Hey, how are you? Oh, sorry, who's that? Ah, Nathan. Hey, man, how are you? So I'm attempting another flight today. Yesterday was CTD galore. So yeah, let's hope so. Okay, let's do the yeah, he is all, yeah, Tankan comes up in orange as well. And I saw the T at the beginning and the N at the end. You know, that's all you need to read a word. Sorry, Nathan, mate. Okay, let's do our climb. Okay, so 251, 251. 251 slash 030 slash 350. Okay. 249 slash
you check the blue pill.
022.
Story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe.
Yeah, you wake up and believe you actually did complete the flight. There we go. Ah, yes, why not? Interesting. Where are we going? 249017, 249 slash 017 slash 200. Yeah, Kodiak would make a nice little cargo plane. 242018, 242 slash 018 slash 200. No, sorry, 150. And then 219 slash 013 slash 100. There we go. Next phase, top of cruise 38. So we'll do 254035, 254 slash 035 slash 380.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you.
And our descent.
We're wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way.
110 slash
shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do
013 slash 350.
We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask.
123 slash 007 310. So based on our conversation we had yesterday with our Airbus pilot who was in the stream yesterday, it's best to do all of the descent winds to get an accurate, more accurate descent. So yeah, I just do the top of the cruise when the cruise. Okay. So descent wind 200, 226, 010, 226, 010/200. And then 064 064/002 at 150. And then the last one is 035/003/100. And by the way, anyone who wants to join the flight, I'm on the West server again. And I'm at Hanoi Airport, Victor, November Bravo. I'm parked at gate 40.
Climb now, climb, crossing, climb, crossing, climb, clear of conflict.
Yeah, we still have to start the engines. Okay, so that's done. Return. Okay, all of that is done. Boarding is complete, so we can now go 0 fuel weight. And our block was 10. What was it? 10. Yep. There we go. Okay, and our headwind today is, or our winds today, it is, what do we have? We have a headwind of only 7. So that's good. So headwind 007, and there we go. All right, that's done. Let's go to our flight plan and do our departure. Departure is off of what is it? Off of runway 11 right, and we are going on the 10 start. There we go. 10 Bravo, 1 Bravo. There we go. And transition is nah. Okay, insert. And let's just go through this. And then we've got our arrival at, let me just check our sim brief. Elalo. Okay. So we are on 20 right. So ILS 20 right. And ELO 01 Bravo. There we are. And let's have a look at what our VIA would be. So we are on that one there. Okay, so that's good. And then I guess we are impact. (21 right) impact. There we are. So impact. IPNAT. Sorry. Okay, good. Insert. Let's just check all of that. We should be good. We might have one disco. No, okay, good. We're good. Alright, so performance. Let's open up the calculator. Performance calculator. And we are 145. So 14. Oh, and we have a wet runway today. To calculate. 136. 136. 145. 150. And we have a flex of 59. And our flaps can be 0.0 up. There we are. Good. That is done. Okay, flight plan's done. That's done. Everything is done. And we are good to go. All right. QNH today, 1017. There we are. And let's look at our pushback. Taxi, where are we at? And taxi, where is it? 10-9. Okay, we are 11 right, so we're gonna go tail left. Okay, let's pre-plan pushback. There we are. Done. Okay. APU on. Seatbelts are on. And start APU. There we go. Fuel can go on. And there's the APU coming on. And that's the airport. Oh, it's really terrible weather. But we're going to take off from that side there. And APU is available. APU on. And we can get rid of ground power. Beacon on.
Flight attendants, arm doors, and cross-check.
And request pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Everything here can go on. There we are.
Once again, we'd like to welcome you on board. Your safety is our top priority, so we appreciate your use of your attention while we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. You can follow along
Okay.
with the safety information card in your seat back pocket.
Let's get out of here, fingers crossed.
Seatbelt, insert the flat metal edge into the buckle and pull on the straps and tighten.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brake released.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
And there we go. We're getting out of here. Okay. Engine 1. Sorry, engine 2. There we go.
If there is a change in cabin pressure, 4 oxygen masks will drop from overhead. Firmly pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, pull the elastic bands around your head, and tighten the straps on both sides. Even though the bag may not inflate, oxygen will be flowing. Be sure to put your mask on first before helping others, and we'll let you know when it's no longer needed. We'll be passing through the cabin to make sure we are ready for departure. You can help us by making sure your seatbelt is fastened. Your seat back is upright, your tray table is stowed, and all carrying items are put away. If you have any questions about the safety features of this aircraft, please don't hesitate to ask. Smoking includes use electronic cigarettes is never allowed on any flight. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying smoke detectors and access thresholds is a federal offense and could result in a fine. For your convenience, this aircraft has 3 restrooms, one in the front of the cabin and 2 in the back, and each is equipped with an
Okay.
cable. We'll be able to make a link for the
Let's start engine 1 as well. Okay.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brakes are set.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear to disconnect. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Okay. Let's
Holding position,
arm.
waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Arm spoilers, flaps 1. We can put on the TCAS now. And we are good. Everything up here. Engines are stable, so APU can come off. There we are. We can pop on some taxi lights. And we are good. Okay. Engine to normal. I'm not going to go through the checklists. I just want to get off the ground and fly this thing. Okay, parking brake set. Released. And let's start our taxi. So it's straight down and onto the runway.
We have clearance, Clarence. Roger, roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Classic. We should have a nice breakthrough when we reach the top of the clouds, I would think. Why don't I have... Okay, there it is. Okay. So, let's go max, takeoff config, and there we go. Yeah, let's hope so. Nah, it won't suck. I promise you that. I only got one face. But it's funny how you always have a... Hold on, what's this? What is this? That's a strange taxiway. I'm gonna run this geezer over. It's amazing how sometimes you try and put a face to a voice and then it's nothing like you thought it was. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's go. Landing lights. So there, landing lights, runway lights are on, and there is on. Everything else looks good. Let's get out of here.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Okay. Yeah, CTD always suck, man. I saw yours. I was so sad for you, my friend. I was so sad for you. Yeah. Oh, soccer. Yeah. Soccer. I'm assuming you mean football. Yeah. I'm a cricket guy. I like cricket. Yeah, I used to like football, but yeah, cricket now. Okay, let's go. Get out of here and let's get to the top of the cloud. Okay, let's stabilize. There we go, 50%. Okay, and Manflex. SRS green. Okay. 80 knots. Ooh, a little bit of wind on the ground there. There we go. V1. And rotate. Positive gear, positive rate, gear up. It's a shame it's a bit cloudy. You don't see Vietnam or Hanoi. There we go. All right. Autopilot on. There's what you can see of Vietnam, not so much. Bit cloudy today. There we go, lever climb. I don't think we have any constraints, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think we do. Oh no, we do. Sorry, yes. There's the first constraint there. Let's go flaps 0. And we can go spoilers disarmed. And we're on our way to Singapore. Oh, very cloudy. And we're breaking through the clouds. So the first constraint, altitude constraint, is 4,300. And that's what we're going to be seeing right there. 4,300. We should. Okay, maybe not. Ah, it's above 4,300. That's okay. We're good. How many flights we're doing today? Just this one. Yeah, I just need to get out. I need to get yesterday out of my system, you know. Yesterday and this morning just bugged me, that did. So yeah, just getting it out of my system. I might do a late night. It's still holiday tomorrow as well, so yeah, let's see. Are you fine today, Chewie? Here we are. Then let's try. Maybe let's do a group flight. I mean, tomorrow is bank holiday Monday for you as well. No, MSEP? Are you on holiday tomorrow? Yeah, so maybe we can do a late night flight. I'm up for that. In the fly-by-wire. Experimental. Isn't all the flying we do virtual? All right, look at those clouds. Looking nice. Welcome to Asia. Let's see if we can see some of the scenery creeping through there. Asia has some really nice scenery. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Can stream it, no problem. Yeah, try and come up with a route. I'm thinking maybe something South America, possibly. Okay, standard pressure. Oh, let me get rid of these lights. I forgot. And seatbelts off. And signs can go to order. There we go. Yeah, I'm up for that. I'm up for that. I finished yesterday at 4 o'clock. I was drinking coffee at 3 in the morning. There we are. So we're heading up to 38,000 feet. And who knows how to use this damn thing? I always forgotten how to do that. Current altitude. So let's wait till we get to 38,000 feet. And then I'm going to try and figure this out. And then, yeah. Going to try and deal with this VNAV. I just do not trust this VNAV. Okay. Okay, while I'm climbing, I'm just gonna pop out from the cockpit. I need to go to the loo. I'll be back in 2 seconds. There you go. I'm back. Sorry, I've been drinking a lot of water. And yeah, we got this new filter and it's just so tasty. I just love the taste of water now. But that's all right, isn't it? Water's good for you. All right, where are we at? Let's have a look. 23,000 feet. And our Navigraph charts look very nice. I'm surprised I didn't go for these charts earlier. I'm still getting used to the charts, but yeah, quite interesting. So this is the overlay of the charts, which you can put on top of your flight plan, and then the flight plan takes over. Very nice. There's Vietnam. Even through the clouds, it looks so nice, doesn't it? So I'm going to trust this VNAV to a certain point. Yeah, I still think it needs a bit of work done on the VNAV. But yeah, let's see what happens. $28,000 feet. Let's go to our checklist and just complete all of this. Okay. Okay. Viewpoint of 25. Must be raining there as well, I would think. Let's see. View broken at 14,000 feet. So while we're getting to our cruise altitude of 38,000 feet, you are going to get some ads that are going to start in 3, 2, 1. Bomb. About now. So there we are, 31,000 feet. Expo that has small sections of the inventors of the year. Ah, interesting. Yeah, that would be nice. Where is it? Where is it taking place? We're supposed to be having the Flight Sim Expo here very soon. I heard. A Flight Sim Expo at a place called Cosford. Flight Sim Expo UK 2022. Yeah, so October 2022 at RAF Cosford, the UK Flight Sim Conference. RAF Cosford is like 20 minutes from my house up north. So I'm definitely going to be looking at that. October 2022. October 2022. Let's have a look. What date? Have they come up with a date? No, nothing. No date announced yet, but it's around 2022. Flight Sim Expo. There was one in San Diego. The Flight Sim show. Let's see. schedule. Yeah, the last one was in 2019. So 2022, everyone is going to be there. Honeycomb, Chill Blast, X-Plane, Orbex. No, not for this year, but they did have one last year, which went quite well apparently. So we're going over some water at the moment. Mainland is over there to our, you can just see it peeking through there. So that's where we are. Yeah, right. Yeah, one day maybe, one day. There we go, that's where we are. So we're just crossing this, the Gulf here. And then we will head on further down into Cambodia. That is Cambodia there. And then down towards Singapore. At least that is the plan, if Microsoft Flight Sim allows it, without going all strange on me. Good afternoon, Ian. Hey, how are you? So we're doing a little, well, not a short hop, but we're doing a hop down to Singapore. We've just left Hanoi in Vietnam and heading down to Singapore in a Vietnam Airlines livery. Very nice looking livery. So we've reached our cruise altitude of 38,000 feet.
Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating with the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Are you flying today, Ian? I see Nathan is on. Farnborough Air Show. Is there a Farnborough Air Show this year? I don't think so. Really? I haven't heard anything. Is there a Farnborough Air Show? Did you hear about that, Ian? Farnborough Air Show. Let's have a look. Farnborough Air Show. All right, July 2022. 2022. Let's see, how much are the tickets? The show visiting. Doesn't say. What's this? Book your pass. Seems to be more for the trade people. Yeah, July 2022, but there's nothing here that talks about. Oh, here we go. Exhibitor and contractor passes are free of charge. Nothing saying that it's really open to the public. Atom warhead in his DA-62. I'm surprised there's no Jolly 54 flying around. He usually pops in. Is Chewie still there, or has he gone to bed? He had a long stream yesterday, did Chewie. And then he got a lovely raid. Made loads of followers in that raid. There we go, look. Your bandwidth is too low for data streaming. You have been switched to offline mode. Wow. And then we'll get successfully connected. Any minute now. Let me see my let's do a speed test. Oh, I'm getting full bandwidth. No problem. Either Microsoft is expanding their servers, I don't know. But yeah, let's see. Let's check what's going on in the forums. Maybe someone has said this on here. Your bandwidth is too low. Okay, let's have a look. So it's right at the top there. Happened twice. Wow. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are having the same problem. And then some people say it's because you use Google Maps instead of Bing Maps, which is, yeah, that's bullshit because I don't use Google Maps. And some people have said it happens when you don't use Google Maps. So I think it is issues at Microsoft server side. Yeah, they have to fix it. It can't go on like this. They're going to blame COVID or the war in Ukraine. Maybe they're doing something. They are doing something at the server side, and it's affecting what we do, and they're just not telling us what they're doing. I don't know. Hey, With Tracker, hi. How are you, man? Oh, I had you open up in another window. Ah, yeah. Now I see you're hosting. Ah. Thank you very much, sir. So we are flying. You just spotted the classic. Of course you did. Yeah, I could smell the toast, mate. I could smell the toast. So we're on our way down to Singapore. We just took off from Hanoi in Vietnam and heading down to Singapore. And hopefully I don't get a CTD. I just got a your bandwidth is too low, which is nonsense because I've got full fiber and speed test. There's not even the slightest decrease in my my bandwidth. I've just been reading that a lot of people are getting that message. Yeah, I think there's Microsoft servers are having a problem. I would think. Yeah, no worries, mate. Easter dinner, of course. You take care, man. All right, enjoy. See you, but. So about 950 nautical miles. And now we are in Cambodia. Flying over Cambodia. And there we go, that's Cambodia. Looks about right. Loads of forests and snakes. And that's where we are. Right there. Took off from Hanoi up there and heading on down. And that's Phnom Penh, I think. Yep, that's Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia. Ah, sorry. Forgot I had the microphone on mute. Ah yes, I was about to just pop off to make a coffee and be right back. That's why. I'll just go and make a coffee and then I'll be back. Give me 3 minutes. All right. Yes, MSFS, that is me singing. You're right. This is Flight Sim Karaoke, my friend. Flight Sim Karaoke. Walker, hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. So you probably didn't hear what I said, but so after we restarted that flight yesterday, we flew and it crashed in exactly the same place.
What the heck?
Yeah, so I gave up, went to bed, and then I came in the morning and I just did that flight offline, no streaming, just did that flight and it crashed in exactly the same place. So then I went to the forums and apparently there are certain places in the world where the mesh is broken. And
basically
that
causes the sim to break.
correct. It gets no data and it just dies. And there are apparently a lot of people who are flying that whole Lahore region. Yeah, Lahore, Islamabad region. And there's apparently quite a few little breaks in the mesh there. And there are some reported in Europe. And there are some reported in the US. And they've been reported to the Zendesk at Microsoft. And yeah, let's see what they do. So yeah, so I had to give up on Islamabad.
So
There you go.
is not
So-
there then.
So that's an airport I paid for and I can't use. I could probably
Yeah.
take off from it, but landing in it, Depends which way I'm coming, I guess.
Fortunate. So that's why it's not there on the video history then.
Yeah. I just deleted it. It was pointless to keep that up there.
No, I totally agree because, I mean, in this case, you never made it to the airport.
I never made it, yeah, at all. It always crashed as soon halfway, maybe 50 miles from Shekhapura. Yeah, I can point to it on the Navigraph charts.
And you specifically mentioned the exact location when you raised the issue with the Zendesk at Microsoft.
Yeah. Someone else has already raised the issue.
Okay.
Somebody else already. Yeah. Quite a few.
The thing is, you mean quite a few for the same area?
The same area, not the same coordinates. Because I didn't. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll take the coordinates and post that. But I think until a world update is done for that area, and or someone does a mesh for the area, yeah, I think it's going to take them time. It's a shame.
You know, it is unfortunate, and I believe that possibly you could get a custom mesh for that area that might make a fix. Otherwise, I don't know if there's any serious.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
Google Maps. Instead of using Bing, you use Google Maps and it will work. You know, that could be another thing.
But did they mention that this is the photogrammetry, the imagery, or a mesh issue?
No one has mentioned anything yet. Microsoft hasn't responded.
That's unfortunate because even in Lockheed's P3D flight sim, even in that flight sim, in some situations, some bugs or some senior artifacts, whether default or third party, can actually cause the sim to crash.
Yeah.
So in either case, it really is unfortunate. At least this previous flight was a relatively short one. I think it was an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
Imagine doing a long haul of 14 hours or more and you're on final approach and the sim.
Well, that happened to Chewy. Do you know Chewy?
Chewy Nuts?
Chewy Nuts, yeah. So yesterday, he was doing a 12-hour stream, and then it changed to a 24-hour stream. So 5 hours into the 24 part of it, his thing crashed completely. So he'd already done 12, nearly 17 hours, and it crashed.
Was it all the time? Was it what, in a single flight or how many flights?
Oh, many different legs. So he was flying from Miami to Venezuela, from Venezuela to somewhere else, and he was ultimately heading to Anchorage, Alaska. And
On MSFS?
on Microsoft Flight Sim, yeah.
That's unfortunate because.
And that was so sad. I mean, we were all watching, and Chewy's part of our community, and we cannot help but feel sad for him.
You're on Twitch, right?
Yeah. He's also a new streamer, and and he's still learning the ropes. And sometimes it can be demotivating, right, to do that and then have to, yeah.
On a side note, with the whole community aspect, there are some other streamers here on Twitch, you can easily see them from day to day. They can easily get like over 100 viewers.
Yeah.
I don't mind participating in that, but the only issue I have with that in some cases, I can barely get a word in the chat, let alone have any attempt at speaking even through chat with the streamer. So it feels like much less of a community activity compared to this.
No, I mean, those guys are big. I mean, you talk about three people like, London Controller and Chewy, the original Chewy, and these guys, I mean, forget it. Captain Canada or whatever, Canadian Mustache, and all these guys.
Exactly. It's just, I mean, well, from time to time, I don't mind watching their streams. It just so happens to be that it doesn't feel much like a community activity anymore when you have all these people, like over 100, in one single chat. But it's fun to watch from time to time.
There's a really nice guy who streams as well. His name is Scruffy Tam. I don't know if you've come across Scruffy Tam, but he's
once.
Yeah, he's a great laugh. He's a really good guy. Very humble.
Heard of Scruffy.
Hey.
I've heard of Scruffy.
Oh, is that Ian? Hello, Ian. Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Alrighty.
So Ian, this is Ian. This is Orca, who is an Airbus pilot in real life.
Cool. Excellent.
He's been a sort of special guest in our streams from time to time, always giving us advice on what we could, do
Should
better.
and shouldn't do.
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, and he handles the MacDo, like it's my Google Pixel, but the thing is, there are a lot of things that aren't implemented, and then we realize they're not implemented only because he told us go there and check if this is working,
Yes, sure.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, there's a few versions behind, aren't they?
Yeah.
With the software.
But they're getting there. So Ian
I don't know if my
is
FS Labs has everything in it. I don't know, because I don't fly them very often. So
yeah. So Ian is a P3D flyer, but he does a lot of classic warbirds and things like that. So
very nice.
Yeah. Orca also flies P3D. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a purist in terms of having a more, let's say, true to life system simulation.
Yeah, that's what I feel more than the eye candy. That's why I stick with this, because obviously the FS Labs, the PMDG, the A2A, Majestic. I'm sure it'll come, once they convert them over. But at the moment, this is where I'm staying.
And honestly, the thing is it's mainly two things. It's what I'm comfortable with. I'm more comfortable with P3D in terms of the menu system. It feels more like home to me. Whereas the second thing, the one single most important thing that I've told to Gadget is the importance of more realistic system simulation. Now, do any of you guys remember a very, very old plain systems simulation for the 747 called Aero Wings?
Yeah. Aero X. Yeah.
Aero Wings is what I remember.
Aero Wings.
Aero X. Oh no, that was no. Then I don't know that one. Aero Wings, no.
Aero Whiskey India November X-ray. Aero Wings. And the thing is with this sim, which I believe still exists in some form or the other, I bought this I think in the late 90s or something. It's a very good simulator, but only for system simulation. It has this tiny window in the corner of the screen, which really the only usefulness for it is you can tell are you heading to the runway or not. In a very, very basic pixelated image of the runway is visible only during takeoff and landing. Other than that, it's
on which platform was this? On Windows?
Yeah, on Windows.
Oh, okay.
And the real usefulness for this sim, at least on the community side, it was mainly created just for pilots to review it at home because it's a full system simulation of the 747-400. However, for the flight sim community side, people made use of this as a background system simulation for a full home cockpit. So when people make a full home cockpit, they use their wings as the system simulator, and then on another computer in the same network behind, the computer's running the home computer, they also run another simulator such as Flight Sim 2004 for the visual part. So long story short, what I'm getting at is I can consider myself on the segment of flight simmers who value system simulation over visuals, where in P3D I can somewhat bridge the gap between both. I value system simulation as number one. Number two, I can still get more than decent visuals outside, especially if I'm flying in specific regions of the world. I can install like photoreal imagery on the ground, all of which I don't need to develop myself. I've already sourced it from a bunch of different sources, such as Orbex True Earth. And provided that my computer can run everything in the background, I can have the best of both worlds. I can have the systems simulation realistically with either the FS Labs Airbus or the PMDG 777, and on site I can have nice looking airports and photoreal imagery. So it's still possible with P3D with this single issue, or rather the single the single thing that would hold back the majority of flight simmers from this whole idea is P3D is much more of a puzzle where you have to put together a whole lot of stuff. MSFS is much less of that. That's the difference.
Yeah. And explain is even worse.
And your P3D with your wallet, of course. It costs a lot of money to get that visual looking with all the Orbex, True Earth, and the regions and the packs and this, that, and the other.
I agree.
Whereas MFS is out of the box.
It's out of the box, exactly. Yeah.
MSFS is much more marriage friendly.
Yeah. Indeed.
P3D is more for single people.
Yeah, and I think with Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Sim opened up to the Xbox user, it sort of changed the landscape as well.
Exactly, and right now, I still insist that MSFS has so much potential behind it. The one issue with MSFS is they still haven't really opened up the sim FSUI PC style the way P3D for a long time in its original iteration Microsoft Flight Simulator since the days of 98 has been open for developers. So they need to open up, I would say, the SDK, the development tools, they need to open up the sim more for developers to be able to develop more add-ons for the sim. To be fair though, the one thing MSFS development-wise has an edge over P3D is in scenery development. I'm hearing from several developers that, generally speaking, making scenery for MSFS is a more straightforward process compared to P3D. I don't understand why, but
I believe so, because you only have to look at the cost, the prices of airports. $14, $15, and where it's like $32 for a P3D version. From flight Tampa, etc. So obviously, there's a lot more involved in the P3D creation of airports in time.
Exactly, but the sad thing is that now, for I would say the dedicated P3D users, which I guess I could consider myself one of those people, it's sad because when you go to the flight sim vendor websites, even Orbex, they're cranking out much more MSFS sceneries than P3D.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 10 to 1. Yeah, every time, this for this, and then the odd P3D input. Or a version 2 of the same thing, or a bug fix, which you can understand because that's where the market is at the moment. And after all, these companies are businesses. They're not here for our fun. They want to make money, and this is where all the money's going at the moment. Everyone's buying the new stuff for that. So I can understand that, but it's a shame.
Yeah, business is business.
It is
what it is.
And they are going to, I've heard that, I've just read they are releasing the API for the weather and the terrain. So that people like Rex and Active Sky and all these guys, Rex has already got a product, but the other guys...
but it's a bolt-on on the top, isn't it? It's a fudge. They haven't got into the inside of it, so it doesn't correlate to what you see in the sim.
Totally, because they haven't been able to have the API. So once the API is released, then let's see what happens.
You should get proper weather. You'd probably get rid of this Metro Blue TAF thing and just give us a proper METAR.
Yeah, I think they have they've signed a sort of a contract with Meteor Blue, and
that's
I think
the problem.
I think it's hard to get out of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you can't fly on a prediction on a TAF, can you? Because it just doesn't work. VATSIM, works off the real weather, and you just can't do it if your weather in the sim is not the same as what you're being told by the controller. So they've got to get that sorted.
And one thing I have to emphasize as a difference, I know this goes back to the whole system simulation thing, but one thing I have to emphasize as a big difference is if you compare the current default 747-8 and MSFS, if you compare the systems in a plane with the latest version of the PMDG 747-400, there's pretty much no comparison between the two. In other words, what I'm saying is, if you look at the depth of the system simulation in the PMDG 747, it is more or less around the same level of system simulation as the old Aerowings 747 sim, in the sense that even though it's not endorsed by training centers or airlines, it is effectively like over 90% system simulation of the real 747-400 systems. And you can still get that with more than decent scenery if you spruce up P3D, doll it up, make it nice. So that's why I will wholeheartedly admit I'm still in the P3D camp. I do still use MSFS from time to time. I mainly use MSFS for VFR flying in GA aircraft, which is an absolute...
Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do the same thing. I mean, I bought it on day one. I had it for about a week, 10 days. Couldn't get on with it. For that very reason, I was missing the A2A and the FS Labs and all that. So I uninstalled it, and I haven't put it back yet. I still own it, but it's not back on the sim. And I keep looking, every now and again, and I hear updates this, updates that, and I see people flying it. But when you compare it, when you've already got the best that there is at the moment in simulation, it's very hard to, just take second best.
Downgrade.
Yeah, it's a downgrade on the systems. You've put a lot of effort into learning these things, and how to fly it, and the fly-by-wires and the community ones and these freeware ones, I'm sure they all do a great job with what they've got. But again, it's basically a default plane that they're tinkering with, and there's only so much they can build into it, I guess.
Okay. So this Aerowinks, those guys, SimFest. I
haven't heard of SimFest.
Yeah,
the SimFest. Yeah,
SimFest.
yeah.
They use Aerowinks. So if we go to here, so that's their
UK.
Yeah, SimFest UK. So that's their home build cockpit, and
you're right. So that software drives their systems, and
correct.
They use P3D or something else for the visuals outside.
That's correct. Yeah.
That would make sense.
So I mean, I've watched some of their streams on Twitch, and it's so realistic. Everything works.
Simulation is pretty much, almost everything is there. I wouldn't be surprised if everything was there systems-wise, but easily over 90% of the 747-400 systems are there. It's amazing.
Wow, it's not cheap though.
Deep simulation. It's not cheap. It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, it's $10,000.
Yeah, if you want to go into that level, but for
they say it's available in the price range below $10,000, so $9,999.
$9, yeah.
Now let me
professional
out there.
Simming, it's worth it, I guess.
It's worth it, and here's the hilarious thing. This is something I noticed just a few days ago. So let's say we have a very popular Twitch streamer, Chewy94. I'm sure all of you guys.
Yeah.
So Chewy94 on an average day, when all of his followers know, oh, Chewy's gonna stream at this hour on this day, yay. Okay, so the funny thing is that on any average stream with Chewy, he has anywhere between, let's say, 200 to 300 viewers. Initially I thought, oh, wow, that's a lot of viewers for a flight simulator. That's amazing. It's funny when you compare it to some of the Fortnite streamers.
Oh yeah.
Some of these Fortnite streamers have over 2,000 viewers.
Or those just chatting ones.
Or the hot tub girls.
God. Yeah, exactly.
Thousands and thousands.
What the heck?
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling, honestly.
If I sit in I wonder if I sit in a hot tub and fly the flight simulator, do I get that kind of viewership?
No, I was just saying, if you want to have a popular stream, don't put your camera on. Don't get to that 150 followers. Keep it off, Gadget.
We'll see.
Set a poll. 150 to turn it on, and then 200 to turn it off. You'll be getting there very quickly.
Yeah, that'd be good. No, 500 to turn it off. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
The way here's something that I was only able to realize this obviously because I was able to compare I'm talking about the full motion sims now, the airline level stuff.
Sure.
Believe it or not, in many cases, in terms of flight dynamics here, what we call in the flight simulation world, the FDE, in terms of the flight dynamics and even the motion sensors, in other words, the motion of the full motion sim, if I compare the feeling of the full motion A320 sim to the motions and the feelings that I feel if I'm landing, let's say, the A320 on a hot day with a lot of wind shifts, okay, going around left and right, even then, the real world A320 actually feels different compared to the full motion sim. The full motion sim does a very close approximation. Yeah, it gets pretty close. But especially in the last 500 feet, if you're landing on a hot day with a lot of wind shifts left and right, it's still not exactly like the real thing. So what I'm getting at here, even in a full motion sim that's certified for airline training, you're still not going to get 100% the same flight dynamics as the
Sure, right. That's a given, yeah. I understand.
So in the full motion sims, what are they using? Are they using P3D or? Because isn't that
what they'd use for visuals.
Isn't that Lockheed Martin's main sort of business, right? Full motion sim. Because I did hear Microsoft is trying to enter that market.
My understanding is based on what I've seen online, and again, this is my understanding. In other words, what I'm assuming, I'm not saying this for a fact.
Yeah.
It seems to be that each of these simulator manufacturers has their own proprietary simulator engine.
Really?
And whether it's CIE or Thales, any one of these fellas, they have, if I'm not mistaken, based on what I've seen on their websites and their specifications for their sims, is that they have their own proprietary scenery engine. And I almost confirmed this when I compare the visuals of the airport and the ground textures from the air when we're flying in daytime in the sim, and I compare it to P3D, it does look significantly different. It's very obviously not the same scenery engine, so it has to be their own proprietary scenery engine, which, by the way, in some cases, it does the job, it looks pretty, but in many cases, what you're seeing now in MSFS looks better, honestly.
Yeah, because I used to live in Dubai, and I used to work in DAVSA, the Dubai Airport Free Zone, and there's an Airbus training center there, which is operated by Thales. Yeah, you're right.
Training center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an Airbus training center. It was like, do you know DAVSA? Do you know Dubai?
Of course I know Dubai, but first time I hear about this region.
Yeah. So there's an Airbus training center in DAVSA where the warehouses are. So our office was inside DAVSA, and you could walk to the Airbus training center. Nice. And they have a full simulator there for the Airbus. Yeah. And it was operated by Thales, if I'm not mistaken. And I know Thales because the business I'm in today is I write software for embedded microprocessors. Yeah. And I used to work for a company called Gemalto, and Gemalto was purchased by Thales. So we were quite familiar with some of the stuff Thales did.
Were you able to ask anyone there, like, what the background?
No, I didn't meet anyone from there. Anyone from there. No.
And the thing is, in retrospect, the funny thing is that I was imagining that maybe I'm gonna start in a 737 or Embraer 17 or whatever, but as Chance would put it, in retrospect, it's definitely, I would say, a fortunate turn of events, a lucky turn of events, that I started out on the 320 series, because the aircraft itself, as far as I could tell, is for all intents and purposes part of its design is it's made to be easy to ease into for an initial operating experience. In other words, an initial operating experience pilot, which in layman's terms is an initial airline pilot.
Yeah.
So systems, the SOPs, the cockpit layout, it's a very great first jet aircraft for an initial airline pilot. The 737 would not have been an issue, especially if it was like the 800 series or any one of the NG series. But the thing is that I've talked with other pilots, and the general consensus is that the 737 still has aspects of this cockpit which are still there all the way back from the 1960s. The A320, even though it was born during the 1980s, is still a much more advanced aircraft compared to the 737, and last but not least, the cockpit design is far more ergonomic. The 737 is clunky on the inside.
Yeah, they still have sheepskin seat covers, don't they? Yeah, the Boeing 747 sheepskin covers. Yeah. And I think, and with the side stick, the side stick is really was a very different concept compared to the Boeing yoke, for example. Yeah, gives you a lot.
The whole thing, isn't it?
Gives you a lot more room.
Driven, yeah.
Gives you a lot more room as a pilot, I would think.
It does give you a lot more room.
Yeah.
The only disadvantage is that you don't feel any, I think they call it tactile feedback. You don't feel the aircraft itself in the side stick. You only feel the motions of the aircraft.
Yes. All right.
But you get used to it.
Yeah.
So you don't get any hydraulic feedback.
Not connected to the surfaces by real pulleys and things like that. It's computer. There's a computer in the way.
So it's real fly-by-wire.
Yeah. Giving you a
The one thing, however, and this is something which I was amazed at once I understood this particular fact. Now, of course, the flight dynamics, in other words, the feeling, let's say, between a 320 and an Airbus A380 are going to be different. However, the fly-by-wire feel, in other words, how Airbus programmed the fly-by-wire and how the side stick feels when you move it around, it feels exactly the same whether it's an A320 or an A380. So even though let's say 330 or 380 will feel heavier in the air, but when you move it around, let's say for example during the takeoff and landing phase, the amount of feedback that you get when you press it and is left to right is exactly the same whether it's the A320 or A380.
Yes, indeed. Because you're just instructing the computer, aren't you? You're not actually feeling the forces on the ailerons, elevators, like in a yoke you would.
Yeah, and if I'm not
that makes sense.
At least with some airlines, the transition course from the A320 to the A330 is relatively straightforward. As long as the initial pilot on the 330 was going on a transition from the 320 to the 330. I studied the REFCON, the SOP as well. I think the whole training program is just 1 month, and that's it, some more or less.
Wow.
What about, and this is a question that, so we take the Boeing, for example, with your standard yoke arrangement, okay? And then you take the Airbus with the side stick, one on the left, one on the right. Now, if you are right-hand dominant, how comfortable is it to use the side stick with your left hand?
Well, you'd have to ask some captains that question.
Yeah.
Obviously, in my case, I fly in the right, so it's not a problem for me as a right-handed person. But with regards to the captains, I don't think it's necessarily an issue because if you think about it, pilots, when they initially get their very first flying experience, which is usually on a Cessna or Piper or something, they're flying using their left hand because they sit on the left with their CFI, the instructor, on the right. And the student pilot always has their first flying experience, including their first solo flight, flying using their left hand. So it's not that big of an issue in my experience.
Yeah, but we take a Cessna, for example, it's still a yoke, right?
That's true. That's true.
This is a gaming joystick, if you like. And Yeah, I'm left-handed. And for me, I had to train myself to have the joystick in my right and feel comfortable with it. Yeah. I have in my home setup, my throttle is on my left. So it's like I'm sitting in the first officer seat. Yeah.
You know what I do, Gadget? I've got the HOTES Warthog, so even when I fly the Pipers, and I quite often I put it right in the middle, right dead in between my legs, so I can go left or right, and quite often I'll sit on the right side, and do some flying out of there using the left hand, and just so I can, swap around as I wish.
Yeah, for
so
me,
I don't find it.
For me, it was more the ergonomics of the joystick. So I had an old Logitech, which is which is hard coded for right-handed people. But I used to use it in my left hand, and it's incredibly uncomfortable. But I flew like that for 10 years, right? In the sim. Eventually, I got a 3D printer and 3D printed a whole new case. Removed the old one, and it now became a one which was more ergonomic from my left hand.
Yeah. I know you can get left-handed options now for the Warthog and things like that.
Yeah,
it just reverses things.
My Thrustmaster is now ambidextrous, so
yeah.
Because I use my mouse with my left, I use my throttle with my left.
And the stick with the right.
And now the stick with the right.
Yeah.
Left-handed or right-handed?
I am left-handed. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I am left-handed, but I play golf right-handed. I play cricket right-handed. I throw a ball with the left. So I am ambidextrous to some extent. But like if I've got to put an earpiece in, the earpiece always has to be in my left ear. If it's in my right ear, very uncomfortable. So it's like, my whole body knows. I have to, if I carry my laptop bag, it's on my left shoulder. It can't be on my right shoulder. Things like that.
Just the way the body gets used to one thing. I guess it's probably related to the left brain.
Yeah. I remember, growing up, in a Muslim household as well. My mother always used to, she would complain that, she would try and force me to become right-handed, and she, to the extent where she even took me to the doctor. And my GP, who was our family doctor for many years, he's saying, okay, what's happened? She goes, my son, he's left-handed. I need to find some way of making him right-handed. Blah blah blah. So he's writing everything down. And then I go to, and his name, he's writing everything down. And I go to him and I say, Doc, you're left-handed. He says, yes, I am. And I'm a doctor. Yeah?
Yes, right?
Yeah. And then my mother just completely changed. And that was it. It ended up...
no more trips to the doctor for that. No more
time. My left hand behind my back and that kind of thing. Yeah.
It was all forgotten.
Correct. And I have my youngest son. He's left-handed. And the funny thing occurred yesterday. So yesterday, I took all my boys. We went and played golf. And my youngest... we have a left-handed golf set for my youngest son because he was left-handed and that's all he could play. We went to the golf course yesterday. He took out the clubs and he said, these don't feel right. And I said, what do you mean? They're your golf clubs. They're left-handed golf clubs. He goes, no, they don't feel right. And he took the right-handed club and that felt much better for him and he was hitting it like he was never left-handed. So in those years, he has his mentals is just shifted straight over without, no idea. It was really strange. So that was a complete 180 for me because I thought and he hadn't touched the golf club maybe in 10 years, and we went to the pro. We got some clubs as well because the clubs we have are a bit too short. So we got some left-handed clubs from the pro, and he was kind enough to get some clubs out. And then when my son tried them, he said, "Oh, I can't use these," and yeah, he ended up using right-handed golf club. But he plays tennis with his left and all of that. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, on those guys that have, are able to do that, they're in an advantage. I'm thinking of guys like Ryan O'Sullivan on the snooker. He can cue left and right.
Yeah. So if I play snooker, I can play both, no problem.
Yeah.
I play squash, I can play with both.
Yeah. Big advantage, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can do that at the correct level.
The only thing with like racket sports, with squash and that, is that I don't have as much power in my right than I have in my left.
Okay, so that's so that's not a true advantage then, is it?
But that's because
it depends on the shot, isn't it? It depends if you need the power.
If he's coming down if he's coming down the right wall or coming down the left wall, I can quickly switch over and boom.
Yeah, and if you're looking just a little jink over or something, or a little delicate.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Or I can't get
can use that one.
I can't get the backhand correctly. I throw the racket over to my other hand and then I've got it.
Yeah.
So
and then get in behind it.
Yeah. Cricket, I play right exclusively, but I throw and I bowl with my left.
Right.
Yeah. So that really confuses people.
Strange, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's captains. I just wanted to say, when I've flown with some captains, a lot of them are ex-Boeing captains. They were ex-Boeing first officers, rather. They were the last aircraft they were right seat on were the Boeing aircraft, whether it's 777 or 747. And then they come and fly using their left hand with the side stick on the A320 series. And I know plenty of these guys that I've flown with, and to be frank, none of them has complained. The only thing that just a few of them have talked about in casual conversation is some of the system differences between the two, some of the things that a few of them are still getting used to, but none of them ever mentioned the left versus right.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess if you're at that level as a pilot, you are adaptable by the very nature of your job. Yeah. So, that's not going to throw you, is it? Because you're able to think your way out of these things and apply that same sort of mentality, the training, to the physical thing as well. So it shouldn't be an issue.
Exactly, I agree.
So we've just left Cambodia. There's Cambodia behind us, and we're now heading down towards Singapore.
So we have an hour. Let's look at our expected arrival time for Singapore.
An hour and 10 minutes.
Sorry, I meant in Zulu time.
UTC is 9:46.
9:46 UTC arrival for Singapore Changi. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wait if we can get the latest weather, the 900 weather, 09004 Singapore Changi, and that should be pretty soon.
Yeah.
Pretty soon. And what was the latest weather for Singapore Changi, if you have it?
Right now it is 310 at 3 knots. Visibility 10,000. Few clouds at 1,600. Broken at 16,000. QNH1 temperature is 27. Dew point is 25. QNH 1009. No significant changes.
Just a little tip that is sometimes applicable to the sim, but it's always something we have to be careful with in the real world. Whenever you see what we call the dew point spread, which is the difference between the temperature and the dew point, whenever they're close to each other, you have to be careful and keep a lookout on the visibility. However, depending on the airport and the geography, so if it's a low altitude or rather sea level airport like this, then it can be not an issue. So at the end of the day, it depends on the airport and the geography, but usually especially in the real world. If the dew point spread, the difference between temperature and dew point is close, we have to be careful just in case the visibility goes down. But in this case, it's more than 10 kilometers.
What is this minus RA? I've forgotten what that is.
Light rain.
Yeah, okay, so there is light rain. Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Yeah, okay.
The 4 nines, that's visibility more than 10 kilometers.
Yep.
Wind variable between 270 and 340 knots.
Yep.
310 and 3 knots. Few clouds, 1,600, broken at, oh, that's pretty high, broken at 16,000.
Yep.
And Q at 1009 or no sleep. That's it.
Yeah, we took off, there was rain.
Okay, so it's, I guess the trend is the rain is going
Yeah.
I had McDonald's at, what's it called? Singapore Changi. Yeah, in Singapore Changi, once I had McDonald's there. So that's the only meal I ever had that I can actually legitimately say, hey, I had a bite to eat in Singapore. I had the Burger King,
where you go upstairs and there's the Burger King right in the corner.
In Singapore Changi?
In Changi, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Because for me it was very early morning. Almost all the stores were closed. I was just transiting. So
it's a nice airport.
I had breakfast there in McDonald's. It was very nice, very pretty.
Yeah, nice airport. They have that sort of a tropical forest garden inside, where you can just walk around as well there. Yeah, I like Singapore Changi. It is nice. But as soon as you step out, depending on what time of year, especially during the, sort of July, as soon as you step out, wow, the humidity just hits you.
Yeah, it's very similar to Malaysia.
The same as Malaysia, exactly.
Like, even, and here's the thing, even on the Red Sea coast here in Saudi,
yeah,
like if you're in the vicinity of, let's say, Jeddah and you go further north on the Red Sea coast, even here, we don't get the level of humidity that's in Singapore and Malaysia.
No.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, same Dubai as well. I mean, you don't get that humidity. It's a dry heat.
Yeah, and on a personal
even
note,
Sharm el-Sheikh, in Sharm el-Sheikh as well, same.
Sharm el-Sheikh weather, even the humidity there, is so much better than anywhere on the Gulf.
Yeah.
Gulf, I remember one day a long time ago, I was late. This was in the evening, around 8 p.m. or so, and I'm walking outside in Dubai. It was so humid. This was a summer night. It was so humid, I could see very light patches of water, like almost a thin, like this very thin patch of water on the sidewalk. It was that much humid.
That must be dew, yeah?
Yeah, dew. There were patches of dew on the sidewalk. It was that much humid.
Wow. Yeah, I lived 10 years in Dubai.
Dubai is nice, but
I was there.
Like a mix of everything.
I was there late 90s, and I left around 2008.
Very nice.
Yeah, so 10 years, and then from there I moved to Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah.
Nice.
So
let's look at charts. Let's look at the approach chart just to get things started in terms of briefing and stuff. That way, at least we get everything in advance and just.
There's the approach chart.
And now, the simulator equivalent of Flight Radar 24 will look at the VATSIM map, and we see if anybody is doing anything over in the simulated Singapore Changi. So if I want to look at Singapore Changi now, I'm trying to see if anybody is flying there. It looks quiet. It seems to be at the moment. Yeah, it seems to be quiet at the moment. I think. What's your call sign?
I'm not on VATSIM.
Ah, you're not on VATSIM.
No,
okay, you're offline. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's forget VATSIM. Okay, back to this.
Allied Hurdle. What's that map? That map is Navigraph charts. So you can do so you can basically have your flight plan, and then I can come into my approach, and then I can overlay the charts on my approach. So I know where I'm going, I know what restrictions I have, etc., etc. And I bought Navigraph a couple of days ago on the advice of the other person you can hear in the chat, who convinced me Navigraph is the way to go with the charts, and that's what I've done, and I'm liking it so far. Yes. Yeah.
Just got to remember to keep the air rack updated. Not like me, just keep forgetting the damn thing.
No, I always I do that. So what are we looking at here, Orca?
So here,
so we are coming in at 20, right?
Well, so now our ILS identifier, same as the localizer identifier, is India Charlie Hotel 08.9er.
Yep.
And this is from the top, and final approach course is 203 degrees.
Yep.
We cross-checked the glide slope through the final fixed IDURO 1,500 feet. ILSD referred to minimums. We'll refer to that soon. And the elevation is 22 feet. Runway elevation is 13 feet.
13, yep.
Right? And radar required. Simultaneous approach authorized with runways 20 left or 20 center. ILS DME co-located with glide slope. Maritime vessels. The maritime vessels, that's not applicable to the system.
No.
It's not railroad. Circling not authorized. All arrivals into Chang Airport will be issued instructions by ATC to maintain 180 knots till 8 from touchdown, and thereafter 150 till 4 miles. This is just for traffic management.
Yep.
And it's not a deal with us because it's just simulated. We have the minimum sector altitudes over here, and we have them in the upper right corner. Minimum sector altitude around VTK VOR between radials 25 and 215 is 1700. It is higher between radials 025 and 100 from the VOR at 2000, and between the radials of 100 and 180 is 3100. Between radials 180 and 215 is 1900. So it's basically the highest MSA is on the northwest sector of the airport. Shouldn't be an issue for us as long as we're on the airway. So long story short, we go down on the lower portion of the chart.
Yep. So Allied Hurdle, no, this is not free. I've just sent you a link of the company. It's called Navigraph, and you pay a subscription. So a yearly subscription is around 75 euros, which works at about 6 euros a month for all of the Navigraph products, including the charts and the AIRAC cycles, and yeah, those that's about it really. Yeah. So yeah. So okay, so we go to the bottom there.
And on the bottom chart, since this is a 320 Neo with pretty good engines, we're not going to go ahead and calculate the climb gradient because it's only a simulation here. We're going to assume this aircraft has a more than good climb gradient. So missed approach climb gradient minimum required 3.7% until passing 2000. We can use the lowest MDA, or rather lowest DA, which is
213. Yeah.
We're above the visibility requirement of RVR 550 meters since it's more than 10 kilometers, so we're covered. And so we'll go with the DA of 213.
Yep.
We have a high sliding system for the runway with RAL stands for runway identifier lights, PAPI on both sides of the runway. And go back up in the middle of the chart. We have the highest point on the approach is 621 feet due west of the airport. And
where are you seeing that?
The highest point on the approach that you have over there is the thick arrow on the left side, on the west of the
airport.
Yeah,
621 feet, right there. Yeah, okay. Okay,
exactly.
So the thick arrow denotes the highest point, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can go ahead and just read the missed approach segment at the top there. After that, we're done.
The missed approach segment at the top. Missed approach, so climb straight ahead to 5,000 on crossing SJR 146, proceed direct Samco, holding area, and hold or as directed by ATC. Yeah, okay. Refer to minimums for missed approach climb. Okay.
Provided that the missed approach that you see in the FMS, which as far as I recall is in blue, provided that the missed approach that you see in the FMS is matching with the missed approach instructions that you see on the chart, we're good. And also, usually, at least on the real FMS, once you have the ILS selected, the ILS approach selected in the flight plan page, the RadNav should automatically be tuned on the FMS side with the ILS frequency, which in this case is 108.9er. So we can check the FMS now.
Yeah, so if we go to the, shall I go approach performance page, yeah?
Initially the RadNav page.
Okay, RadNav. So ILS frequency will come in at 250. So in the sim at under 250 nautical miles, this populates by itself, but I can also populate it myself.
So we'll wait for that then. We'll wait for the 250 miles. Let's go to the perf page.
So we go to the perf page. So I can pull. Let's pull the weather like we did last time from ATSU.
Yep.
AOC menu, weather request. Okay, and send to the printer.
Let's see if it grabs the latest one.
Okay, company message. And let's go to received messages, meta, and we can print that. There we go, it's coming out of the printer. And there we have it. Okay, so Meta are at Singapore. So let's go to our perf page. So our QNH. Our QNH is 1009. 1009. Temperature on the ground is 27. We got winds at 310 at 3 knots. Our transition altitude. Okay, so I'm going to just go to the overview.
Should be the same as the chart, but we can cross check.
Overview.
Which, remember, it should be the transition level. That's something.
Yeah, transition level.
Fly-by-wire guys should.
So I'm looking at. Which chart am I looking at? So hold on a second.
Same one.
The same one. Okay. Let's just go back there again. I'm going 20 right, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. So the overlay. So transition level is flight level 130. That's correct. Yep. And our DA was 213. Yep. So that goes in my barrow, yes?
Yes.
So 213. Okay. So what would you put in the radio then? Because normally I put no decision heights.
No, we leave that empty. Radio,
okay.
as best as I recall, is only used if we're doing something like a Cat 3 approach. And we want something precise using the RA altimeter.
Okay,
so that's
the radio altimeter, yeah.
AGL, the height. Otherwise, for a normal ILS approach, a good visibility, we just use the barrel for either ILS or non-precision. Okay.
Good. And I've already also put the so we're in the cruise wind right now, and I've already put the descent winds in as well. Yeah.
So the flight plan page has been set via the arrival, correct?
Yeah, I've already done the arrival. Return. Yep, the arrival already. So Igula. One second. where are we? Actually, that's a bit strange. So, where are we now? Let's have a look. We are there, so... Oh yeah, Alalo, yeah. Yeah, it's all set, yes. So it's telling me top of descent after Candler. But okay, I'm going to try and calculate that top of descent. So what we should do is, so current altitude is that. Our target altitude should be what should be our target altitude?
You're currently at flight level 380.
Sorry?
Are you at flight level 380 now?
I'm at flight level 380, yes.
Okay, so for example, 38 times 3 is 114. 114 nautical miles. If you want to add a few miles to that, you can just call it 120 nautical miles. That's it.
Yeah, 120 miles. Okay.
That's it.
I'll add 130 miles. I'll do
Okay.
130 miles, yeah.
That's fair enough.
So I'll wait for this one here, 130 miles, and then I'll start my descent.
Yeah, just 130 miles as the track
Over
goes.
here, sorry.
Yeah.
So this one here, I'll wait for that to be 130, and I'll start my descent.
Makes sense.
We should have the white arrow visible now. There it is, the white arrow.
Let's see.
Right there.
Bingo. Alright, so
Yep, we're all
now
ready.
that was for the approach briefing. If we're gonna brief the landing. Now that was an approach briefing, it was not the landing briefing. So for example, we're gonna expect radar, not radar vectors. Are you flying using the default ATC or what are you using?
I'm not using no ATC.
Okay. So we're gonna imagine this as radar vectors in the sense that you're just going to be descending using the published altitudes on the chart. Therefore, let's say for example for the landing briefing, this will be a CM1 landing. CM1 is the person sitting at the left seat, CM2 is the person sitting at the right seat. So okay, CM1 landing, Airbus A320, Delta Alpha Foster Bravo Whiskey. We still have a valid database on the FMS. A flight plan has been set via the arrival. And RadNav, we will cross-check it soon just to make sure it still has the FMS frequency on the RadNav, the ILS frequency on
Yeah,
the
let's
RadNav
just
page.
check. It will come. It will come.
Check the prog page to make sure we have GPS primary is high, just to make sure we meet the
Prog.
RP requirement.
GPS primary high. That's correct.
Performance has been set via the latest weather information for Changi Airport, along with the DAF213 is set in the barrel for the FMS.
Yep.
Now, if we want to go more deep and technical in terms of the briefing as it applies to the real world, we would open the field prediction page, and what we would say is, just gonna wait here, there's a bit of a lag. Did you press field prediction?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. So we have a fuel, just 0.9 extra. It gives us just over half an hour. Minimum destination fuel on board for our alternate is 2.1. And secondary, of course, we don't have any secondary function to fly by wire, but we're gonna imagine we just copied secondary and we put another runway.
Yeah, there is nothing there at the moment. Yeah.
Exactly. And otherwise, we're going to be landing using auto brakes low, expecting to use conf full. Ground spoilers shall be armed. And we have no MELs or CDLs affecting the technical status of this aircraft.
Yep. Landing config is full. That's correct.
And we expect to vacate whenever convenient via here. You can open the taxi chart and just give an expected taxi route for us, and that'll be it. So that's just a general landing briefing, the one I gave here.
Yep, so the taxi chart, we're coming in at 20 right. So the exit is going to be Whiskey 6. The ones before that are quite a tight turn.
Now, what is the importance of this? In other words, what is the importance of giving a landing briefing? For example, we may have an MEL which affects, for example, the auto brake function. We may have an MEL which requires us to have some form of performance penalty in the FlySmart application app, which we use for calculating the landing data in the app. Another case, and this is one of the most common reasons why a landing briefing is required in the real world. Let's say if you have a taxiway closure, and this taxiway closure will dictate where you are planning to vacate from the runway.
Right.
This is, and that's why for each and every landing that you make in the real world, you have to brief the NOTAMs, just in case there's anything new on that particular day which affects your airport, even if it's the airport that you're based at. So the NOTAMs always affect in one way or another landing briefing, and
so,
that's one of the reasons why we do the landing briefing.
So this is the taxi chart that you can see right now, and I'm assuming Whiskey 6 is the one we would take, because these sort of go back on yourself, or you can also take these ones as well.
Yeah, Whiskey 6 or Whiskey 7.
Yeah.
And expect to continue taxi, for example, via taxiways, Whiskey and Victor into the route, and follow marshal instructions.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, of course, every airport is different. If you're just going and you're flying, let's say, for example, VFR in a Cessna 152, you're going to an airport where you're over 90% certain that there's not going to be any traffic around, that it's just an airstrip with a little FBO office, then there's almost no landing briefing required. Not that it's absolutely not required. I'm just saying there's almost no landing briefing required. But in the airline world, where you're dealing with this aircraft and all these systems, and you have to brief the approach, you have to brief the NOTAMs that affect the airport on that day. That's why there's a whole lot of things, much more things involved, and this just goes to show you why a landing briefing is required every time.
So my my approach fix into Singapore, so my procedure for runway 20 right, 20 right, correct. Approach ALS Aduro is 2,500 feet. 2,500 feet.
Oh, that's the altitude for the final fix? Or
yeah, final fix. Isn't that right? Let me just put that on there. Hold on.
I think it was called Iduro.
Iduro at 1,500? Or...
Yeah, the final fix is basically the point at which you want to plan to be stabilized. Of course, there is usually, with every airline is different, but in many airlines, they have an absolute requirement to be fully stabilized by 1,000 feet. But in many cases, even though this is different between a precision approach or a non-precision approach, but you want to be at least fully stabilized or almost fully stabilized configuration-wise by the time you're at the final fix.
Which is Iduro.
Yep, in this case it's Iduro, which is at 1,500.
Yep.
So by the time you're at Iduro, you should already be slowing down, going to around Con 3 or something like that.
Okay. Alright. So, let's have a look. RadNav, not yet. Flight plan, okay. We're still 350 nautical miles out.
One of the nice things, I mean, if you want to compare two things which are absolutely worlds apart. If you want to compare, for example, the system-wise, on one hand you have the Boeing 707, and on the other hand you have the Airbus A350. They're of course worlds apart in terms of system sophistication. But the one thing I want to emphasize is, let's say if you're flying something old school, like a 707 or 727, those things didn't have any kind of FMS system or anything that use managed climb or managed descent. So in that case, you always had to, well, use your head in terms of calculating a proper descent path. On the other hand, with something much more advanced, which in this case you were flying the A320neo, you already have managed descent, which manages the descent based on the constraints that are inserted in the FMS. Therefore, as long as you initiate your descent anywhere before that arrow, the top of descent to the waypoint, it will calculate a proper vertical speed to descend to meet those constraints, and you almost don't have to calculate anything. The only reason we make these calculations in terms of where should we begin our descent is merely as a backup, just to back up with the FMS.
But what about when so you know the green ball that comes up here, okay?
That's the path.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm above it or below it. Do I have to adjust my speed manually?
I mean, if you're below it, as long
Because
as you're on managed descent, specifically as long as you're on managed descent, as long as you're below it and you're on managed descent and the aircraft is attempting to recapture it, you just leave it as is, as long as you're on managed speed.
Because when I fly the P3D PMDG 737, I have to do nothing. It calculates, it increases or decreases my feet per minute based on my descent profile, right? So, yeah, but in this one, and speak of the devil, he's just shown up in chat. So Tankan, hi, I was just thinking about you. So Tankan was telling me about, to keep the ball center, I have to keep on adjusting the speed, and I don't know if it's because fly-by-wire doesn't support it at the moment or something like that. So because last time when we tried it and we were high, okay, fly-by-wire doesn't adjust speed at the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna have to adjust the speed.
You would only adjust the speed to affect your descent if you're using open descent, because open descent is more of a pitch for airspeed power for alpha function. So in that case, yes, you can use Mach select or speed select to affect your descent rate, even though it's not exactly an absolute command because it's pitching for that speed. It's not an absolute command as far as the feet per minute is concerned. When you are on managed descent, you would ideally use managed speed.
Yeah, so what Tankan is saying is that even though we're on managed speed, fly-by-wire doesn't handle the power at the moment. So they say to use speed brakes to manage that at the moment.
Correct. Particularly with open descent. Speed brakes in a descent work best with open descent.
Yeah, but
because at that point you're metaphorically just falling free. You don't have any profile you're falling. Whereas on managed descent, the computer wants to follow a vertical path. So that's where you can confuse the computer if you use speed brakes. So speed brakes should ideally only be used with open descent during descent.
Yeah, but what we're saying is that fly-by-wire, even though they have the managed descent, it's not fully implemented in terms of speed at the moment. So we're still waiting for that to be updated, and I think that's why people are now being told to use speed brakes.
The beginning of the conversation, when I said that's why, personally, on a personal perspective, why I'm more of a purist and I value system simulation.
Totally. Yeah.
This is one example.
But this is experimental, so we and it's free.
And free. It is the best value.
100%. I like free. I like it a lot.
The fly-by-wire is still amazing. On a serious note, it's still a great aircraft, but it still has a way to go in terms of fully giving a proper Airbus simulation, especially with the managed descent, the constraints, all of that. It usually works, but it still has some quirks in there. It's these little quirks that a guy who's used to the real thing, you know, it's not exactly convenient.
Totally. And yeah, they will get there. They will get there, I'm sure. You know, every day, I mean, I'm getting at least 3 updates a day.
And just to agree with Chewy Nuts, for the price of a fancy steak dinner, you can get Navigraph instead. That's another way of looking at it.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, I go out and take my family out for dinner. That's £100 already. Yeah.
Exactly. In just one day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's for a year. Okay, it's £6. You know, it's £6 a month or €6 a month. You know, we spend more than that on croissants.
Exactly, and I mean the convenience.
Although
factor,
Tankan won't agree.
Exactly, the convenience factor. Not talking about price, just the whole convenience of it. You have literally all the charts for all the major airports delivered straight to your computer or iPad. It cannot be overstated. It's just so convenient because, well, I can tell you for the fact it's the same charts. The only reason it says at the bottom of the charts for flights in use only is just to legally protect navigation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, same charts, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, Tankan is from Turkey. And, you know, the average salary in Turkey, you know, is not very high. So, yeah, a lot of people can't do that.
I just wanted to clarify the reason, and this is at least a good reason why Navigraph would state at the bottom of the charts for flights in use only, do not use for real navigation. Typically, Jeppesen charts, at least with some airports, not all of them obviously, but with some airports, you can get one or more update for some approach charts in a single month. Whereas obviously with Navigraph, you don't necessarily have that much updates per month. It's usually just the one update on a monthly basis. So that's just one reason why, or arguably the main reason why, Navigraph would state at the bottom of the charts for flights in use only. So it's a liability thing.
Yeah, totally.
Gadget, I've got to duck out now. I've got to prepare for my stream in
no
half
worries.
an hour. So
no
I'll catch you again, my friend.
All right, you take care, Ian.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Walker. Take care. See ya.
Take care, Ian. Have a good night, mate.
Bye. Cheers.
Yeah, so Ian does this stream. They're called the Misfits, and he gets a bunch of people that fly like Spitfires or, you know, classic warbirds on P3D.
Just to respond to Chewy Nuts, as far as updating the charts, if that's what you're talking about, it's strictly speaking based on, and I'm talking about Navigraph here, it's strictly speaking based on what Navigraph offers. However, for the real world Jeppesen charts, if that's what you're referring to, there is a refresh function. I'm talking about the real world Jeppesen app here, that actual flying. On the Jeppesen Charts app in the iPad, on the corner of the app, once you open it, there's this little like notification, like you get this little orange notification, new charts available. And I would press that, and as long as my iPad is plugged onto a Wi-Fi connection, I just press update charts. It'll take a while, like 15 minutes more or less, but once it's done, yay, all my charts are updated for the entire selection of airports.
Yeah, right.
That's basically it. So in either case, it's whatever update is built.
Chewy, you have Navigraph, right? Yes, you did. Okay, yeah, you have. Yeah, so Tankan, yeah, the other one is the €26 a year, the Iraq version, which gives you all of the Iraq cycles. Yeah, that's also a value purchase, and you can use Little Nav Map for that as well. ChartFox is also a product that is available as well. Yes.
So where are we on the distance? We still have a ways to go, but
so we are right now in the distance. We are 276 nautical miles.
In lieu of a flight attendant, I have my own coffee pot over here. Otherwise, in the real world,
What?
our friendly flight attendant will bring me my daily ration of coffee.
Turkish coffee or regular coffee?
No, regular coffee. On the
Okay.
aircraft, it's just the regular brewed coffee that we have. Yep. So, Nomad is currently doing flights across Australia, and I keep telling him, mate, do some flights in the other parts of the world. But I respect his decision. His way of flying is he likes to fly point to point. So
Yeah.
he likes to continue flying from whichever point he last landed at. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
respect that. That's just, I guess, how he likes to lay out all his flights on the land, which is fine. It's just that personally, if I start streaming, it'll strictly speaking be wherever I feel like flying. As long as I'm flying a real world route using the correct livery, I'm gonna fly whatever route.
Yeah, if Nomad keeps this up, then he will find all those broken meshes anyway, and he can take note of the coordinates and report them.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Australia has no issues so far.
Yeah, because they had a world update, and I think once they do the world update, then the meshes get fixed, and Asia or West Asia still needs to get that done, or the subcontinents. They need a world update. The Middle East needs a world update, and they'll get there.
Even honestly.
Yeah, the next.
And the thing is, the next one, did they say that it'll include the Middle East?
No, the next one is Italy and Malta. That region, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised because you would think the Middle East being a center of the world.
Well, that's pretty much then all of Europe is done, more or less. So then they will move into the next ones, I'm sure.
But at least I assume they'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
At least I can say is even default, just plain default MSFS still looks very good around the Arabian Peninsula. It's more than decent.
Yeah. Someone needs to do a Muscat airport. They haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Oh, Tankan. Yes, I am from the land
Oh my gosh.
Arabia.
Jolly 54 is up in the air again. I just knew he would turn up. All right, Jolly, how you doing?
There.
Yeah, he's always there. He's like, he's my escort most of the time. How you doing, Jolly? You all right?
Yeah,
So I did that flight, the same flight we were doing yesterday, and it crashed in exactly the same place. I did it a third time, and it crashed in exactly the same place. So there is a problem with the mesh on that flight path.
like the Bermuda Triangle.
It's like, like the Bermuda Triangle.
But honestly, it was sad because that was a really beautiful flight with the sun's, the sun rising. It was morning in the sim, right?
It was late evening. Late evening.
So beautiful.
There's the route, Jolly, just in case you want it. We're coming in at runway 20 right. What was the route? You want to try it? I think I still have it. Hold on. So the route was OP. So the route was OPKC to Opus. There we go. That's the route that we were flying, and it crashes just before you get to Lahore.
Simark or who?
Opus is Simark, yeah.
The one you have, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have his Islamabad, Faisalabad. Lahore is not by him, I don't think. Lahore is by... let me have a look.
Probably MSK.
Yeah, MSK, that's correct. Yeah. I got quite a few in Pakistan. for obvious reasons. But yeah, so yeah, so Simark Islamabad, Simark Faisalabad, and Allama Iqbal. I thought I had Allama Iqbal.
Those are the ones you have, right?
Yeah. Oh no, Allama Iqbal doesn't exist. Lahore. And then I have Gwadar from MSK. Yeah.
Very nice.
And yeah.
You know, I know I probably said this before, but I want to emphasize it again. Flight sim users, at least initial flight sim users, let's call it that. Initial flight sim users these days are absolutely spoiled. They have no idea the kinds of flight sims we had to deal with 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
What I'm curious is, now Gadget, what was the first ever flight sim you used?
The very first one that Microsoft. Okay, if I'm talking about that, then it was an old wireframe simulator on the BBC Micro. Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you.
No, I believe that, because the first flight sim I used, an actual flight sim, was Microsoft Flight Simulator for Windows 95. Now, for anybody here in the chat room, like if you ever used Microsoft Flight Simulator 95 or Microsoft Flight Simulator 98, you'd know what I'm talking about. If you don't, all you need to do is simply go to YouTube and type Microsoft Flight Simulator 98. And then you will wholeheartedly appreciate the level of scenery and depth you get it.
Totally.
Flight Simulator.
100%. So we have our ILS frequency now. It's populated, and our course is 203 as per the chart.
Nice, excellent. That's excellent. That's one of the things we check in the actual FMS. Excellent.
So yeah, we have a 108.9 and approach course of 203.
Awesome. And show it nuts. Like I said, the first flight sim I used is Microsoft Flight Simulator for Windows 95. Even FSX is considered advanced compared to that flight sim. Like the graphics in Flight Simulator 95 was primitive compared to what we have right now. It's just unbelievable.
And then I had another flight simulator back in the day, which was called Flight Unlimited. Do you remember that?
I had that.
Yeah.
I had that, and my favorite was Flight Unlimited 3, because Flight Unlimited 3 was very, very much ahead of its time.
Yeah,
it had its own ATC, it had real scenery. Flight Unlimited 3 was amazing.
Yeah, and the scenery was great.
It was way ahead of its time.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to those guys.
Something, yeah, they just, I don't know, maybe it's marketing, but, and let's see if you remember Fly. There was Fly and Fly 2.
Yeah, yeah.
And hey, here's the probably a fact which I'm gonna guarantee a lot of flight sim users don't know. PMDG's 777 for FSX and later PMDG's 777 for P3D was not their first 777. PMDG back in the day used to have a 777 for the Flight 2 simulator, believe it or not.
Wow, but before they were called something else before PMDG, if I'm not mistaken.
Same name. It was either Precision Manuals Development Group or just abbreviated as PMDG. But they were basically the same, PMDG. And their very first airliner add-on that I recall was the Boeing 757, something like that, for Flight 2. And later on, they made the Boeing 777 for Flight 2. And then at some point, they thought, let's make a 737 add-on for Flight Simulator 2004, and the rest is history.
Yep.
That's a Flight Sim history for you.
They were at 204 nautical miles. So it looks like that's the top of descent arrow is not far off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, fingers crossed, it will work.
I mean, as long as it coincides more or less with about 120 track miles on the FMS, then we're good.
Yeah. And we got Jolly, who's right behind us. He's dialed in the flight plan. And yep, Jolly is a regular feature of my streams. He always turns up. And yeah, I appreciate that, Jolly. And then normally I can get them on the drone camera when they're coming for landing.
And by the way, the thing is that some of the shortest airline routes, you can look this up, some of the shortest airline routes operated in real life
Yep.
are between the Hawaiian Islands, and probably the shortest route I've flown on as a passenger was between San Diego and LAX in California.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they still operate that passenger service, by the way. That actually exists. Now, you'd be curious, like, why the heck would they operate this service between San Diego and LAX? It's such a short route. Well, one good reason is out of LAX, you get some flights that don't exist in San Diego. So they use this flight as a connector flight, which is particularly useful for international flights. So you can get on in like Embraer 175 on a very short flight from San Diego to LAX before you board a trans-Pacific flight from LAX to Tokyo. There you go.
And I always thought the shortest flight I ever heard of was Heathrow to Gatwick. But no passengers. No passengers.
That's a ferry flight.
Yeah, that's just a ghost flight. Yeah, just to I don't know, keep the engines running during COVID. During the pandemic. They were doing that, moving the aircraft back and forth.
Keep live.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm pretty sure that they file an IFR flight plan for that and everything, but it's basically just radar vectors, nothing else.
Yep.
Crazy.
So we're nearly at our top of descent. We're going to start our descent around 135 nautical miles. Just because I don't trust the VNAV at the moment. But yeah. So let's see. So about 50 nautical miles, which is about right.
Yep.
Little bit, yeah, that's about right. We got the top of descent arrow there. All the charts, everything is done. Approach. So approach, when does the approach brief happen? Or the approach checklist?
Very good question. The approach checklist is generally a part of the 10,000 feet flow.
Okay.
And the latest update with Airbus, and I should review this, but based on what I remember, is in the latest SOP update from Airbus themselves, the actual manufacturer, is it's at 10,000 feet AAL. AAL as in above airfield level.
Yep.
So another way of looking at it is technically AGL as reference to the airfield itself. Now
Yep.
in Singapore sea level, so we'll just use 10,000.
10,000 feet, okay.
So 10,000 MSL, we take the landing lights on. We make sure constraint is selected on both EFIS selectors on the FCU.
Oh, on
and
both.
check that GPS primary is high. After that, the pilot flying, whoever it is, whether it's the captain or the first officer, requests approach checklist, and then we read it. This is at 10,000 feet above airfield.
Right, so I have constraint on the captain side or the pilot flying side, and airports on the first officer side. So yeah.
Which in this
So-
for our purpose for this flying is we're considering that you're pilot flying and the non-existent FO is pilot monitoring. So you're doing it correctly.
Yeah.
Once we pass 10,000 MSL, which for Singapore is the same as 10,000 feet AGL,
Yep.
we go ahead and do the 10,000 feet flow, which is landing lights on, constraint on both sides. We check GPS primary high, and then we request a checklist.
Right. So another function is that there is an add-on called Your Controls, where you can do shared cockpit on the fly-by-wire or any aircraft, and so so one can be pilot flying and pilot not flying, or whatever. Yeah. So that's also something that's going to be quite interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Gadget and his drones. Yes, my friend, drones. Yeah. So I just think, in case you didn't know, so I race drones. Yeah. That's another hobby.
Race drones?
Yeah. That's a hobby of mine. Yeah.
You actually race drones?
I race drones, yeah. So I build racing drones and then I race them. Yeah.
That's very nice.
I wear the goggles and so I got HD cameras on the drones and then I race them at about a meter off the ground. Yeah.
That sounds outstanding. It sounds hilarious and awesome at the same time.
Yeah. It's a good bit of adrenaline.
I would love to do that. I would seriously love to do that.
Yeah, I think they're probably. I don't think they're allowed in where you are.
On a very extremely limited basis.
Yeah, security issues and things like that, I guess.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. So I apparently have lost my internet connection as usual. Yeah, they've been having a lot of problems with the servers, Microsoft. You keep losing your... It says that I've got... My bandwidth is too low, which is not. And then... But it'll come back online. Adam J. Pestridge. Hello, sir. How are you? Welcome to the stream. So Adam J. Pestridge. Okay, Adam J. Pestridge is... He's the oracle when it comes to P3D. I don't know if you've ever watched or heard of him or watched any of his streams. So he does a lot of development stuff with P3D, and especially on scenery. If you want scenery, Adam Pestridge is the guy to talk to. Yeah, for P3D.
Or what can he do to the scenery?
He makes scenery. He has great access to good resources of scenery. He's working on a plane at the moment. So he's local to me as well, and we've you can and I'll just give him a shout out because he's actually one of the guys who inspired me to stream. And so he is very much in touch with what's going on with P3D at the moment.
Oh, he's more of the, I would say, people who are more oriented towards maybe systems detail, and that's why.
Yeah, he's a big systems guy. Yeah, Microsoft likes him is a bad word in his vocabulary at the moment. Yeah, he's hardcore P3D, but a solid, very, 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 very nice bloke. Always helpful, especially on his Discord channel as well.
Yeah, I go ahead and just try, like I said, try my best to bridge the best of both worlds. P3D for detailed aircraft study, systems-wise, and MSFS for VFR flying. And I've enjoyed both in those specific niches because, like I said, with MSFS, just
okay. I'm sorry.
VFR flying, it's
sorry. I just have to drop down now to 1500. Okay, we have arrived at our top of descent, and I will go into manage descent. And there we go. We are starting. And that's all I should have to do. There we go. And we have started our descent down into Singapore. Now the ball, you can see the ball, the green ball. I'm high at the moment. And should I just wait to see if it catches up? Yeah, it's catching up. I won't touch.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be
so on the throttle side, on the speed side here, you've got the two bars. Okay, top and bottom. What do they indicate?
Oh, just 1 second. I got an ad playing here.
Oh, really? Oh, damn.
Yeah, I should get myself a subscription because this is getting out of hand.
No, I'll sort that out. You don't worry. I'll just I'm gonna do something right now, and hopefully you will never see one. Let's go to community. Okay, I'll sort that out afterwards, but yeah, I will make you I will give you a level of access, and you won't have to worry about that. Although subscriptions are nice.
Yeah, I agree. So 3, 2, 1. It's almost there.
Lucy, hi, how are you? Oh, really? Both streaming? Yeah, go ahead, mate. It's Sunday. Chill. Stream.
Okay, so you're referring to the magenta brackets on the speed?
Yeah, that's right. These two, yeah. Yep.
The way the Airbus flies managed descent is that it has these brackets as a margin. So let's say, for example, it either has a default managed speed of 300 knots, for example, or you manually insert it in the FMS descent performance descent page a managed speed of 275
In the
knots,
performance descent page. Ah, here.
So in either case, you have a managed speed descent. So what's going to happen, just like what Tankan said, you have a maximum and minimum speed margin referring to that managed speed. So what happens is, let's say it wants to either catch up or catch down to that yo-yo, to that ball. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
It has that margin to go up and down between those speed brackets as a margin to allow the aircraft to catch up with the yo-yo either up or down, and that way, using this margin, it can pitch up or down to catch up with that yo-yo, the green ball.
And it's doing
absolutely. Yes,
it's doing its job currently, because the ball is still quite. And mind you, I've had an update this morning before I started the sim, so it's possible they've done some updates to that as well. Because the yo-yo is definitely trying to stay in line.
Thing is that let's say, for example, you're on managed descent and Changi Control tells you, for example, Airbus 321. Please maintain speed 250 knots or less. And you're on managed descent. What you can do is you can select manually 250 knots, and even if it's on managed descent, it should make a slight pitch up while it's on managed descent to catch up with 250 knots. If that's not fast enough, in other words, the Airbus itself is not catching up fast enough with 250, what you can do, simply go open descent and it will pitch up faster, so it can get the selected speed of 250.
Well, we have a decel point coming up, the next waypoint, 250 knots, and yeah. So just to mention, so Adam and Lucy. So the person you're hearing in the background is Orca, and he is an Airbus 320 pilot in real life. And he's really been helping the community, our small little community, on what we are doing wrong, or how we can improve what we do. And he's really been educational for us. And we really, of course, we always value his input. He's really taught me a lot, and individuals within our community. Yeah, so again, thank you, Walker. Thank you so much. So we have a decel point. So the yo-yo is really actually managing itself at the moment, so it's doing quite well.
It is quite well. It's definitely better compared to
the last few flights, yeah. So we have a decel point of 250, and we should be below 21,000 feet by the time we reach P-bar.
There it is. Thrust idle. What we would do in real life, by the way, and this is just Airbus SOPs. This little part is not exactly required if you're just flying a sim, a personal sim like this. Is anything you get on the FMA, which is the top the notification bar at the top of the primary flight display.
Yep.
Any notification you get, you know, with the white square around it,
Yep.
you call it out. So, for example, if thrust idle pops up with the
Yep.
white box around it, then you go thrust idle, and the other pilot would say check.
Yep. Right. Okay.
And the reason why this exists as per Airbus SOP is it's a way of notifying each other about any changes and being aware of what the aircraft is doing.
Right.
So it's just a weekend situation awareness.
So now our speed is, we're above the magenta bar there. But I think we're still okay. We are going to, yeah.
The thing is, we're now at flight level 1907. We're still above 10,000, so we're good. As long as you reach 250 knots somewhere above 10,000, then you're fine.
Yeah. So now the yo-yo is, and this is usually where it does happen, but let's see if it catches up. And it's trying to catch up. Yes, it is. So now we should hit our decel point. So the yo-yo caught up. Right there, the yo-yo caught up. And we have our decel point. Now the plane is overspeeding. Exactly. Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, let's do a little bit.
So this is one example of what the aircraft is doing. Is it's using the fastest margin, the top part of that speed bracket, in order to catch up with the managed descent profile, which is represented by the green.
So I got a little bit of speed brake open just to get back to that magenta.
It's okay. Did you manually input 250 in the performance page of the FMS?
No, so it's part of the constraint. So it did it itself, yeah.
No worries, that's fine.
And now it's going to try and drop to 220 knots, it would seem, yes. So now it's heading towards 220 knots. So let's get to that speed now. So the yo-yo is disappearing now.
It'll catch up.
Yeah, I'm going to get it to pitch up.
If for whichever reason you want to catch the speed faster, you could just go open descent. It will immediately just pitch for that airspeed, and then using speed brake you can go back down to the managed profile.
There we go. And the yo-yo should come back.
And just to comment on what Adam was saying, this is just my personal perspective, it's kind of unfortunate that Lockheed Martin P3D will probably not get a lot of updates in the next couple of years. I mean, I guess that's just how it is. Some softwares get outdated as time goes by, but for me on a personal level, I still value P3D, but it will be interesting to see if this is the final generation.
Yeah, I think, you know, at the end of the day, we have to remember that P3D, yeah, it's a touchy one, but because Lockheed Martin have said time and time again, we're not really their customer. Or,
yep.
You understand what I mean? Yeah, so...
That's true.
So Tankan is saying, don't let the blue zigzag get away from me, but I am getting... I've got the speed brake out. Just
Let's try
to...
open descent. Let's try open descent.
Open
Just go ahead.
descent.
Yep.
Okay, open descent. So QNH is 1009.
1009. Now let's say, for example, the ball is way down and we want to catch up with it, okay?
Yeah.
We are on open descent, okay?
Yes, we are.
Now let's say, for example, ATC said no speed restriction, okay? No speed restriction, Airbus 321. This is something you can do, and let's see if the fly-by-wire will emulate the same function. We are already on open descent with speed brake. Go speed select 240.
Speed select 240.
Yes. Let's see the FBW.
But there was a speed restriction for me for 220, there was.
Let's imagine ATC told you no speed restriction.
Okay.
So go speed select 240. Let's see if what I have in mind will...
There's the yo-yo, it's coming up now. The yo-yo is coming up now.
There. What I had in mind, it worked.
So then I can go back to
speed select.
I can go back to manage descent now? Or?
Yep, go ahead and manage it. Yeah, go ahead, manage descent, manage speed. You're good. You see what we just did there?
Yep, yep. And then back down to 220?
Yep.
Or I can do that.
The thing is,
managed.
provided that ATC allows you to do whatever you have to do, you always have to be ahead of the aircraft. You can't just leave it to do what it wants to do. I'm talking about not just descent, even in real-world operations. Sometimes the aircraft, it will not be doing what you want it to do. So you have to effectively do what you have to do to reach the target that you need.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why, on a personal level, I disagree with the whole idea of autonomous aircraft. It's a really stupid idea. Pilots need to be there in order to be part of the decision making. So there you go. You have to fly the aircraft instead of leaving the aircraft to do what it wants to do, with one of the main reasons being that sometimes the system just doesn't meet the constraints. You have to do what you have to do.
Okay, this looks very strange, this flight plan. It's not what I'm seeing.
I agree with Adam. It's just unfortunate that Lockheed Martin are sticking with the old school basic terrain textures. If they have a scenery engine, which is more or less the same functionality as Microsoft Flight Simulator, then we would have a much better default scenery engine compared to what we have in B3D. But that's just my opinion.
Let's have a look at my flight plan. It looks very strange. Pibab. So Papsu to nylon.
Okay, let's do the 10,000 feet flow. Landing lights on.
So landing lights on. Up. So landing lights on. Seat belts and signs on.
Okay, and constraint both sides, and we check GPS.
Constraints both sides. And GPS to high. Yep.
Yeah, we just checked the GPS primaries.
Okay, so barrel reference set. Both check.
Okay, let's go ahead and hit the check.
Seatbelts on. Minimum
on.
is done.
2-1 true set.
Yeah. Auto brake.
Low.
Let me get rid of some spoilers there and what? Oh, I thought that went so low. Okay.
And engine mode selector.
Engine mode selector is normal.
Road check is complete.
Approach checklist complete.
Yes. I would be very excited to see what Lockheed Martin have installed with prepared version 6. That's gonna be
okay. So this is very strange. So we're heading to nylon. It looks okay in the flight plan. Nylon to IPNAC. And then Agula. Yeah, everything looks okay.
The question is though, is it all connected or is there a discontinuity?
No, there's no discontinuity at all. Look at that.
Okay, we're fine then.
Yeah, we're fine. We're at 220 knots.
No.
Perf page, we are still... Yeah, very interesting, isn't that, Duncan?
That's impressive.
And when should I do my approach mode? Because I believe we've already passed that marker and nothing has happened. So I could put my approach mode on.
Is more of a pilot's discretion thing.
Yeah.
But during my training, I was given advice that anywhere around, and I emphasize anywhere around 30 to 25 nautical miles, ideally, is when you would go ahead and manually choose approach phase activated. Of course, for some stars, it's different. You will by default get it activated earlier to meet some star restrictions. Otherwise, as long as you don't have any star restrictions, activating it earlier, as a technique, you can activate approach phase at around 30 to 25 nautical miles, track miles to touch.
Yeah, so I'm going to activate approach mode. There we go. And where was, so missed approach speed. So our constraint now is 3,500 feet. So we've got speed. And we are starting our descent. Not yet. So if I look at the charts, it was 3,500 feet at Agula.
Now, Iduro, if I recall correctly, had an altitude restriction of 1,500 feet, right?
Aduro, yeah, 1,500 feet. Igula, 3,500 feet. And Idvas, 2,500 feet, which it is there. Now, see, it wants to turn.
Yeah, the way it's drawn on the FMS there.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. That's actually as per Navigraph. That's okay. There is a little left-hand turn, a right-hand turn on Navigraph's chart. That's correct. And we're going to Ipnak. That's good. I can see a glide slope diamond coming in there. We're 23 nautical miles out. Should I slow down manually or let my approach mode is going to take care of that?
I mean, at this point, if we say 5 times 3 is 15.
Yep.
We still have, and we should still have some track miles to touchdown. So your descent rate is fine. I don't see any real issue with that.
No.
And your speed is fine. We can just leave it at this now. We don't want to slow down too much.
Okay, landing system is on. There we go.
So 5 times 3, that's 15 miles.
What are you counting?
Altitude above airfield level, which is basically sea level here. So 5,000, that's 5 in thousands of feet. 5 times 3, that's 15 miles.
Okay.
And you can add a few miles for that, or as a deceleration margin. So about 18 miles, let's say, track miles to touchdown. And even if you look now on the flight plan page, you should have more than that as track miles. So
yeah, to the airport, I can see it's 18. Yeah. So
yeah, we're definitely covered.
Yeah, if we look here, we can see the ILS marker there. India Charlie Hotel. Hey?
Very much covered in terms of...
Yeah, I think we're okay. There we are, coming up to our 3,500. The yo-yo is back up. Wow, Tankan, look at that. Tankan, no hands. Look, no hands.
Effectively, if you want to cheat, you know, I'm just saying it in a joking sense. If you want to cheat, basically,
and here comes the localizer.
Am I actually on profile? You can already tell that you're on profile because the glide slope is above.
Yeah, yeah, and the localizer's coming across now. I'm going to arm the localizer. Yes, I will arm.
Actually, you can just arm it all now.
Yep.
You can just go approach and then the other autopilot. APR.
And it's raining. Look at the rain on my windscreen there, on my windshield. And runway is in sight.
Okay, and we
Lights.
push the other autopilot.
Yeah. Oh, we do that now, yeah?
Traffic,
Or ILS,
traffic,
yes, 'cause it's
traffic.
an approach, we can use both autopilots.
There we
It's
go.
redundant.
Glide slope is coming in. Wow. Wow, thank you for this. I mean, this is, yeah, my first real proper VNav approach on in this experimental version. Otherwise, it's given me loads of problems in the past.
You mean in terms of the altitude constraints?
In terms of trusting the technology.
Yeah, it actually works fine now.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
there's
so let's start.
CP in his. There's CP and out in his A380, in A330, and there's Jolly behind me. Good.
So what's the missed approach altitude?
Missed approach altitude was 5,000 feet.
Okay, glide slope star, we put the missed approach altitude at the FCO.
Now, yeah?
Yeah, because we got glide slope star on the PhD and captain glide slope. Now you put the missed approach at the FCO.
Everybody strap in!
Okay.
That's an SOP thing.
Okay, so now that's set up there. All right.
Just a way to remember it, you can as a way to remember it. Glide slope star, missed approach altitude.
2,500.
That way, in case of a go around, your altitude is already set.
Okay, flaps 1. And we can drop the gear.
Very good.
Okay, slow the plane down even more. So ECAM memo, landing no blue. Okay, hold on, getting there. Flaps. Flaps 2. Whoops. There we go.
Typically, you have to wait until you get the VFE next, which is the little aura, the little amber equal sign. Yeah. You should always. Yeah.
Oh,
you know
there.
what I mean.
Okay,
Below
right there.
that.
Yes. Below
Once you're
that.
below the VFE next is when you extend the next.
I
flap.
can just.
Just so you
there we
don't get
go.
an overspeed.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
below that.
Yeah, we
Below
go.
that, you take the next flap, so you don't.
And then
get
we
an
can go full flaps. There we are.
So wait a few seconds. Yeah, below the
Okay.
VFE next, the amber notches, you take the full flap,
Yeah.
you're good. Very
Done.
good.
1,000.
Okay, landing checklist, ECAM memo, landing no blue, checked.
Landing checklist complete, you're
Landing,
good.
there we go. Proceed to next is after landing checklist. Okay, and here we are.
Almost there. You see how this thing is beautiful, the automation? The Airbus, I mean.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful aircraft, honestly. As much as I love Boeing wide-body aircraft, I have to tip my hat to Airbus. For
500.
narrow-body aircraft, Boeing have nothing on them. I have to admit. And with all the respect to the 737, but Airbus got the recipe right. Okay,
100.
1,000 is stabilized. Very good.
100 above.
Runway is in sight. And as a general idea, you want to make sure the
200.
aircraft is too white, too red on the PAPIs.
Minimum.
Now, as long as it's following the ILS, you're fine. But at the same time, you always want to make sure
100.
the PAPIs are showing 2 whites and 2 reds.
Yeah, which I don't think
50,
the puppies are
40,
working in this air.
30.
Oh, they
It's
did.
fine.
20.
It's a simulator. So
10.
it's fine.
Retard.
There we go.
You can disconnect the autopilot now and follow mine. If you want.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah. There we are. And we are. Oh, my taxi.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good.
There we go. Where's my taxi chart? Quickly, I forgot to put that up.
Well done. Welcome to Singapore.
Oh,
It's raining.
welcome to Singapore. We're taking this taxiway off. There we are.
Let's maintain center line.
And there we are. This is Whiskey 6.
Very, very good. 70 knots. We can stow the reversers.
I didn't even need to use reversers on this.
Great. The airline will thank you for that.
Oh, will they?
Yeah.
Oh.
You extended the engine life right there. Maintenance will thank you.
Okay, let's just park up at the gates. Who won? Oh, I got to land.
Let's stop the aircraft for 1 second. Let's stop the aircraft just 1 second.
1 second.
Set the parking brake.
Parking brake set.
We're quickly gonna do here, and this is just something for you to remember how to do the flow. Is, okay, the captain sets the ground spoilers to disarm.
Ground spoilers disarmed.
And
there we are.
This begins the first officer flow. Radar and predictive wind shear system off.
Off, yes, that's part of the checklist I saw.
And then engine mode selector back to normal. It's already on normal.
Oh,
but if
so
it was on ignition, the first officer would set it to normal.
Right, okay.
And transponder, we set the transponder TARA off and the transponder set to auto.
Okay.
And we start the APU.
And the flaps?
Flaps, of course, they go to 0.
Yeah.
So radar and predictive wind shear system off.
And then APU.
Up.
APU. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And I guess landing lights can come off.
And the landing lights off, correct? That's part of the captain flow.
And then taxi.
Oh, that's basically the after landing flow, right?
Taxi and runway lights? No.
You keep the taxi light on.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, taxi light on. And you can as far as I recall, you can keep the runway turn-off lights on. That's no big deal.
Okay.
The one thing you don't want running when you vacate the runway is the landing lights.
Okay. So
flow
radar and predicted weather shear, wind shear is off. That's fine. And we can do that.
Half land check is
and then
so now we can continue taxi.
Continue taxi. Okay.
Of course, in the real world, we do this while taxiing, but
yeah, sure.
Because we're in a sim here, we have to look around. That's why we stopped. So just to recap, the captain flow is disarming the spoilers and then landing lights off. First officer's flow is radar and predictive wind shear system off, engine mode selector back to normal, flaps up to 0, and then the transponder auto, TCAS TARA is off, APU on, and then a few seconds later APU start. So that's basically the after landing flow.
Nice weather here.
Very nice. I'm impressed by the rain effects.
I like it when it's rainy like this.
Yeah, I'm actually impressed by the rain effects. This is amazing. Very nice. It's funny because this is realistic, because this part of the world is always raining.
It's always raining, yeah.
Amazing. It's funny to think about it. Singapore was almost essentially like the prototype for Emirates, and now we have Emirates.
Yeah.
But at least Singapore Airlines still exists. They still have their charm.
Yeah, but back in the day, in the beginning, it was PIA for Emirates.
That's true.
Yeah.
In other words, I was talking about who was the first airline that, connected points across the globe.
Yeah.
Say that there were 3 airlines back in the day: Pan Am, British Airways, and Singapore Airlines. This was before the big 3 Gulf Airlines came onto the scene for aviation. So, in other words, Singapore Airlines was one of the pioneers of the long-haul flying, basically.
The Jolly's coming in for landing as well. I'm going to park at Bravo 3. And CP, I know you're in the air. I've already seen you in an A330. And there's the power truck. And center line between my legs.
Okay, so let's say marshaller in sight.
Yeah.
The brake pressure is checked. The brake pressure is basically the brake gauge there. We make sure we have enough accumulator pressure. So Marshal on side, brake pressures check, clear on both sides. And taxi lights off. That way we don't blind the poor ground marshal.
Yeah.
Clear my side, and the captain says clear my side.
There we go. Park and brake is set. Let me just get in there and switch off the taxi lights. And okay, so taxi lights. So let's see, parking, park brake and or chocks set, engines off.
Lead on, first of all.
Which one?
Immediately, once the parking brake is set by the captain, the initial action is the first officer puts the APU bleed to on. So parking brake set, APU bleed on. And
APU bleed
the captain
on.
says, once the captain sees the APU bleed is available, okay, we start to shut down the engines.
Okay.
One by one.
And shut down engine 2 first, or what do you do?
Usually one first.
Oh, 1 first. So on startup, usually 2, and then on shutdown, engine 1, and then engine 2. Okay. And there we go. APU is on. External power is available. Okay, let's just check this one. Engines off. Wing lights.
Very good. Now, once we have a positive shutdown, here's what we're going to do initially. First of all, and this is something I want to describe as per Railroad SOP, is initially what we would do is we set the seatbelt sign to off. What happens when we set the seatbelt signs to off? When we set the seatbelt sign to off, this is a signal to the cabin crew to disarm all the doors.
Yes.
Once we see on the door system page that the cabin crew have disarmed all the doors, only then do we switch the beacon light to off. The beacon light to off is a signal to the ground crew so that they can safely open the doors with no hazard of a slide inflating. That's the logic behind it all.
Right. So we assume they've already done that, and we can switch off the beacon light. We've got external power available, that is on, and now we can shut down APU. And
welcome to Singapore.
And secure the aircraft. Oxygen is off.
There's off.
Oxygen. Oh, so yeah, Diaz is not on the checklist. Interesting.
That's
so
weird.
3, 2, and 1. So oxygen off. Emergency exits off.
And by the way,
batteries off. Okay, that's interesting.
Typically in the real world, when you're at a huge airport like this, obviously at a huge airport like this, you already have maintenance personnel available. Per Airbus SOP, the only thing you need to do in a large airport like this where maintenance personnel is only available, for the securing checklist, you only do 2 things. ADERS off, oxygen off, completed.
Yeah, alright. So that's also strange. It's an EFB off, but it's not off.
That's only for the full securing checklist.
Yeah.
The abbreviated securing checklist, provided you have maintenance personnel available at the airport, is ADERS off, oxygen off, completed. Because you don't have to shut down the aircraft, particularly we have a crew inbound who are going to fly it out once you leave.
Yeah, right. And there we are. There's CP and Art in a nice livery over there, and Jolly is over there.
Have an A330 parked next to you. Yeah, that's CP.
Yeah, that's CP. Yeah, so there is an A330 available for the sim as well.
Very nice.
It uses fly-by-wire systems, but the cockpit is modeled and everything. So yeah, it's
Nice.
and
That's
it's
the
also
one that Nomad has been flying.
yeah, from Headwind. It's free. It's free. Yeah, the power truck always has a problem. It doesn't know where the aircraft is.
I just remembered something in terms of the whole discussion of flight sims. I'm really, really, really happy. What the heck is that truck doing?
Yeah, he has a problem. The truck has a problem always. Now it's already set up. It's done.
So yeah, I was saying I'm really happy that we have the Rotate MD-11 released for X-Plane. Ideally, I would have loved to see it in P3D or MSFS, but at least we have some form of MD-11 released for one of the current sims, because the last one was the PMDG MD11, and that one was so out of date. It's an excellent add-on in its own right, but it's the last one was what for FSX, so we can't use it in any of the current sims. So I've seen a few videos of it, and it's very nice because now that is a unique aircraft add-on. Otherwise, we don't have any other proper MD11 add-on right now. It's the only MD11 now for any of the current sims.
That is right. Yes. So there's CP over there, and so CP Jolly's over there in I don't know which livery that is. What does he look like? Let's have a look.
Is this the default Singapore?
No. This is WF Sceneries.
That looks wonderful. I love it.
And he is in a Swiss with a mirroring problem. CP, you're not in the Condor one because I'm not seeing the Condor. Ah, damn, I should install those liveries just so I can see people in the Condor livery.
And Adam, yeah, I agree that DC-10 is nice, but the MD-11 with its FMS and glass screens is still significantly different system-wise from the DC-10, and that's why a lot of people, me included, miss the PMDG MD-11. So that's why I was happy Rotate have released recently theirs, so at least now we have some form of MD-11 for us. That's why. But I still love the DC-10. I agree.
Yeah, it was a nice plane.
Yep.
Just had a problem with its cargo doors, that was all.
Yeah, once they had that fixed, it's
correct.
It still lives.
It still, yeah, sure, it still lives. They just they put a padlock on the outside.
Pretty much. And they even upgraded their DC-10s with glass screens, so it's called the MD-10 now.
Yeah. Ah, you're in an Air Vietnam, so maybe I've downloaded the Vietnam airline from a different supplier, probably, or a different creator. That's why I don't see you in the Vietnam Airlines. I've taken a screenshot, I've put it on the Discord.
You know, speaking of Vietnam, on a side note, now that you just mentioned Vietnam, they have some of the best cuisine in the world. If you know what to find, what to eat precisely, they have some amazing food there.
I like some of it. I don't like all of it. I do prefer, the cuisine in Thailand. It's incredible. Very good food in Thailand.
I agree. If I were to choose just one form of cuisine from Southeast Asia, it would be Thailand by far. I agree.
100%. Very, very, very good food. And living there for so long, I mean, and I even tried, so there are a group of Thai Muslims as well, and their cuisine is actually quite different to the Thai cuisine that you would normally associate Thailand with. And it's very, very, very good. Very good food.
Probably
in the south of
cuisine
Thailand.
Probably kind of similar to Indonesian cuisine.
A little bit like Malaysian, because it's they share the border with Malaysia in the south of Thailand.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, Hat Yai, and Yala province. Yeah, so these are all that Thai Muslim areas, and very, very good food. Yeah.
The nice thing about that part of the world, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, is you can get outstanding, delicious food for cheap. With the currency differences, for really cheap, and it's excellent. I used to just, I spent 20, 50 baht, buying food on the side of the street, egg fried rice, chicken fried rice or whatever from the vendors, or a fish. Patsiyu pla, and patsiyu is like flat, wide noodles with fish. Pla is fish. Fortunately, I speak Thai, so my staff. So my staff are Thai. Yeah. I've been to Indonesia before on this topic of Southeast Asia. One of the things which I absolutely sorely miss about Indonesia is buying a few, notice that I didn't say just one, no, buying a few pieces of fresh dragon fruit
Oh,
for very cheap.
I can't do
Very
dragon
cheap.
fruit. I cannot do dragon fruit. As soon
Why?
as I cut it open, I want to vomit. And
Why?
I know it tastes completely different to what it smells like. Yeah, but I just can't get past that smell.
No, I'm talking dragon fruit, not durian.
Oh,
If that's
sorry,
what you're referring
durian. I'm thinking durian. Yeah, dragon fruit. Yeah, very nice.
No, durian is completely different,
Yeah,
and I agree. Durian is an extremely acquired taste.
But durian, no, it doesn't taste anything like it smells. And everyone has told me just get past the smell, and you will be addicted to durian. Dragon fruit, yeah, the white one with the black dots inside. Yeah, that's very
I'm actually
nice.
referring to that dark velvet form of dragon fruit. I once bought a few pieces, like at least 3 or 4 of those from the street side vendor in Indonesia for very cheap.
Yep.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, on the one hand, it tasted fresh and delicious, and on the other hand, it's really cheap. So it's just one of those things you can only enjoy in that part of the world.
Totally. Yeah, I used to get a lot of my Omani friends from they were from Omantel and Ooredoo. And they would come when they're visiting the factory in Thailand. I have to take them to the fruit market so they can buy a whole bunch of fruit to take back to Muscat with them, So yeah, it was always good trips to those markets.
One of the funny things that me and a friend experienced in Jakarta.
What's Jolly saying? Jolly is saying kun au gi cow. Huh? What is that? Cow is rice. Kun ogi. I don't know what that is. Cow is rice. Cow pak gai. Maybe chicken fried rice. Is that what you're talking about, Jolly? Chicken fried rice? Maybe. Kun. I don't know what kun is. That's not familiar to me. But typically the staple diet is khao pak gai, which is chicken fried rice with you want rice? Okay, sorry. Yes, of course. Yes. Sorry.
In Thailand.
Sorry? Yeah, that's in Tinglish. Yeah, Thai English.
What's it called in English?
No. So I want rice. Ching ching. Tie up. So yep, Jolly's been to Thailand. You spent a year in Thailand. Very good.
Is that the chicken fried rice in Thai?
Khao pat is fried rice. Khao pat gai is so gai is chicken. Kai is the egg. Yeah. So what they normally would have is chicken fried rice with a fried egg on top. Okay? Nothing is brilliant. So chicken fried rice, fried egg on top, and that's khao pak gai, chicken fried rice, kai dao. Kai dao means fried egg.
Got it.
Yeah. But it's funny because a lot of people start speaking Thai and they end up, and especially the men, they end up speaking like a woman. Because there is masculine and feminine, and a lot of the men, they start to speak as a woman would, so I always have to correct them.
I think that's kind of analogous to how in Arabic you have female and male tense.
Bilkul. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And so a simple greeting in Thai is Sawadee krap. Sawadee krap is for the man who is talking, but a woman would say sawadee ka. Yeah, so very different on the end. Ka and krap. Yeah.
I noticed the same thing in Spanish. I believe, for example, when they're referring, if I'm not mistaken, when they're referring to uncle and aunt, for uncle they would say tío, whereas for aunt they would say tía, if I'm not mistaken.
Something similar to that.
Yep, in Spanish.
Chido includes Oh, all right. I'm gonna go have to get some some food. So anyway, thanks. It was a great stream, and fortunately, Microsoft Flight Sim did not crash, which I'm very thankful for. For the from the Microsoft gods, they didn't disconnect us. Thank you, Orca. Thank you, Orca, so much for all your precious input, man.
No problem. Always a pleasure, mate.
It's incredible, and I'm hoping that the community in the chat, I've learnt some things that they were not aware of, and start using things like the checklist. For me, actually, I now realize the value of the checklist. So yeah, all those things and the flows, it's all very, very good. And
yeah, glad to help.
I mean, Tankan, of course, he's has quite a bit of knowledge, but we do not know it all. We do not fly the A320, and it's so nice that people like Tankan, myself, and Jolly, and everyone else in the chat can learn something. I
just wanted to say one last thing. Way back around 1997. Around 1997 is when I first bought my copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator 19, Microsoft Flight Simulator for Windows 95. Long story short, I installed it on my PC. I did not have a joystick or any form of flight controls at that point. I would fly the default Cessna 172 in that old Microsoft Flight Sim for Windows 95. I would fly it using the keyboard commands. I'm just saying, that's where I started. So that's where I started, and now, thank God, I've reached this point in my career where I'll fly the real thing. All I'm saying is, I started out as just a basic enthusiast, as a flight simmer myself. So I see where I was back then, and I see where I am right now, and that's why I'm always willing to help people to make their simming experience as realistic as possible. That's all.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. You have free reign to jump into the lounge anytime you want. Yeah, and
Thank you so much. And just to respond to Adam, that would be a fun challenge, flying the default 172 and MSFS using keyboard commands. It will not last very long, but would be a funny challenge anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, CP and Art, thank you, sir, for flying your A330. Jolly 54, as always, mate. You turn up anytime you feel like, mate. No worries. Adam, thank you for popping in. And Tankan, of course, as always, thank you, sir. Nomad Aviators around, and MSEP, thank you. We might do a flight around midnight again. If MSEP's still awake. CP, if you're awake, midnight Europe time, then we might do another flight. Jolly, Kapung Kap, and who else popped in? There was many other people popped in. Chewy, mate, get back on the horse. Yeah, stream again. Yeah, do the 24 hours. And cross your legs and make sure it doesn't crash. Allied Hurdle, thank you so much. All right, okay, MSEP will be awake. Yep, okay. All right, I just have to get I have to fill myself up with coffee. All right, thank you
for a great stream, mate.
Thank you, everyone, and you're welcome, my friend. You are welcome as always. All right. I was waiting for that, Nomad. All right, mate. All right, everybody. Thank you. And I will see you all, or chat to you all, very, very soon. All right.
Take care, mate.
Thank you, Orca. Thank you.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
No. Bye-bye.
Pull up.
gonna do a superhero landing. Wait for it.